is another gorgeous afternoon on the east coast of Florida as we welcome you to the ballpark of the Palm Beaches in West Palm Beach, Florida, where this afternoon the Houston Astros continue spring training 2017 with a contest against the visiting Minnesota Twins. Hi, everybody, and welcome. Todd Callis alongside Jeff Blum. Glad you could join us today. Blummer, you have been through it as a player, and now you get to watch these guys. The final 2 weeks of spring training, opening day just 12 days away. Seems like the starters are getting more and more at-bats as we move along. Yeah, the first couple of weeks of spring training are really I don't miss. It's these last 10 days that I really do miss because you start getting ready for the championship season that these guys are heading into. But you're going to see a lot more of these guys going through the 4 ABs a game, trying to make those in-game adjustments heading into the season. With that in mind, with the regulars getting more at-bats, fewer at-bats available for a few guys who just recently got sent down that we may see make an impact in 2017. Yeah, it's about time to make cuts, and it's an interesting year for the Houston Astros also in the sense that they have a little more depth. We talked about the offseason acquisitions of a couple guys that really solidified that lineup, so it bumps these guys down. But it's impressive that they have the organizational depth to send down 4 or 5 guys that have 180 days big league experience. How about that? You've got guys like A.J. Reed, Colin Moran, Teoscar Hernandez, guys that really made an impact this spring, maybe had the best springs of anybody. Yeah, they had great springs, obviously made a good impression. They're going to be remembered when they move further down in the season. If injuries happen, these guys could be coming back because the experience is good, the versatility is good, and you've got Yulieski Gurriel moving into first base. You're going to see Marwin Gonzalez in left field, so versatility and depth is definitely a theme on this roster. Another special afternoon for us here on Root Sports. We'll hear from the manager, A.J. Hinch, in the 4th inning. Prior to that, the Hall of Famer, Nolan Ryan, will join us up in the booth, so stay tuned. Julian Morales right around the corner with more as we continue from West Palm Beach right after this.
Palm Beach. It's time for some Astros baseball right here on Root Sports. The Twins are here. Dallas Keuchel will take the mound. And if you caught his last start right here on Root Sports, it was pretty good. On paper, even better. With the 4 innings that he threw there, he only needed 39 pitches that day. So very efficient, so efficient that he even had to go back into the bullpen after his outing and finish up, throw a few more pitches just to get the endurance up. But he felt good, which was very important, especially coming off an injury that finished his season early last year. But if you asked him, and we did after the game, he did say that wasn't my best fastball command. Something everybody's working on this time of year, but when it comes to Keuchel, he's going to need that fastball command in order to have success. That's where he had so much success in 2015, winning that Cy Young Award. The difference in that fastball, we're looking at it versus 2016, the usage, didn't use it as much, down to 51% in 2016. The hitters were getting after it a little bit more than they were in 2015, hitting 294 off of that fastball in 2016. Chase and whiff, not getting it like he was either in 2015. Tells the story of that year. And then, of course, we know that he was dealing with some injuries in 16 last year, that he's trying to just get healthy and feel good again. But that's where it all starts with Dallas Keuchel. And so I send it up to the booth with Jeff Blum for a little bit more on what Dallas Keuchel needs to work on.
Thank you, Julia. Good stuff on Dallas Keuchel's fastball, and we do know it is an issue, but he had a Cy Young year in 2015. 2016, he showed up, and it looked like the league had started to make adjustments against Dallas Keuchel. We know he likes to pitch off the edges, but hitters were starting to lay off that, and some of those pitches were diving out of the zone. Therefore, he fell behind in counts and had to be more aggressive with that fastball in the strike zone, and maybe too good of pitches to hit, and started to get hit around a little bit. The walks went up almost 1.3% last year for Dallas Keuchel. That was an issue because when base runners did get on, those base runners were coming around to score because more pitches were in the zone. The Toyota keys of the game that we're going to watch here for Dallas Keuchel in this ball game, making his third start here in spring. Again, north-south delivery. We want to see him stay linear between second base and the catcher. Want to see him going downhill. I think that's what makes him effective when the arm gets on top. Better sink, better cut on that slider. The location, we know that Dallas Keuchel wants to pitch down the zone, creates ground balls. So if base runners do get on, we saw what we saw in last start where he got 3 ground balls for double plays that got him out of innings. And of course, the health with Dallas Keuchel. Therefore, the fluidity in that motion and the relaxed, comfortable delivery is what we want to see from Dallas.
Keuchel making his third spring start, facing the Minnesota Twins this afternoon. The Twins did not bring their A lineup across from Fort Myers, but there are some solid major league hitters in here, including the guy right at the top, former Ranger Drew Stubbs, designated hitter. Benji Gonzalez, Matt Hogg at first base. The catcher is Chris Jimenez. He's the cleanup hitter. Escobar Field, Danny Santana, who's played everywhere, J.B. Shuck, who started his career in Houston, and Avery Adrianza rounds out your Twins lineup.
Around the Astros outfield, you're going to see in left field Marwin Gonzalez, versatility out there, getting some time. George Springer in center, Josh Reddick in right. Across the infield, J.D. Davis at third. Reed Brenya getting a start at shortstop with Correa still in the WBC. Altuve and Gurriel on the right side. And again, Brian McCann working with Dallas Keuchel, looking to continue that great relationship they've started out on.
All 3 starts for Keuchel this spring. He has had his main catcher, Brian McCann, behind the dish. And we start today off with a strike on the outside corner, 0-1. Stubbs coming in, batting 167 this spring, a home run, 8 runs batted in. A little bit inside, it's 1-1. Brian McCann has said the thing that has impressed him as much as anything about Dallas Keuchel is his ability to put the ball where he sets up. And that is a thing of beauty for a catcher. You put the target up, and usually the pitches, that one was a little bit wide of his target, but usually the pitch is right around that glove.
Yeah, but again, the glove not moving that much. As long as Brian McCann's not raising the glove around his catcher's mask to catch the pitch, we're in good shape because Dallas Keuchel is trying to work downhill.
There's a foul ball at the plate. It's 2-2.
And that's part of the job of Brian McCann, is to adjust to what Dallas Keuchel is working with each day, too. He's not going to have the A+ stuff, or maybe the changeup isn't going to be as effective as he would hope. And Brian McCann, getting to know Dallas Keuchel a little bit better, is going to know where to go in order to adjust and compensate for that pitch not being as effective.
There's a called third strike, and Keuchel, on the first batter of the game, picks up his first strikeout.
It's a good start. Location, again, watch the glove of Brian McCann. Didn't even move it. And again, he does such a good job of living on the edges that sometimes hitters question whether or not it is a ball or a strike. And if you get them guessing, it's usually hard to pull the trigger.
And if you are consistent and living on the edge, the home plate umpire usually likes that.
That is very true.
In this case, Shane Livensparger calling that first pitch, or that last pitch, for a called strike. Here's Benji Gonzalez. Gonzalez, third baseman today, takes a called strike on the outer half, 0-1. Mentioned Keuchel making his third start. He picked up his first spring training start on Sunday the 12th, right here as a visitor against the Washington Nationals. 3 innings of 1-hit shutout baseball. Followed that up 5 days later with a game against the Atlanta Braves. 4 runs, 3 hits, no runs allowed, 2 strikeouts. So he's got a total of 7 innings, 4 hits, no runs allowed this spring. All 3 of his starts have come here at the ballpark of the Palm Beaches. Tried to bunt the 1-1 pitch, does Gonzalez, and it fouls back to the screen. It's 1-2. It'll be interesting and enjoyable in the top half of the second inning to have the legend Nolan Ryan in here talking baseball and also talking Dallas Keuchel. He had a chance to address some of the starters this morning before they headed out to their respective fields.
Yeah, being a young kid growing up out in L.A. and knowing what he did for the California Angels at the time, and then watching the Astros in the National League West, I had a chance to watch him pitch a lot. So the questions are going to abound when he's on.
And we'd like to keep him for 4 innings. I don't think that's possible.
Right, yeah.
But we at least have him in the second inning, so that'll be a special treat to stay tuned for. There's a ground ball off the bat of Gonzalez for the second out. Handled by Jose Altuve. Got to love Jose flying back on the red eye.
If you ever had a question about how much Altuve loves the game and how much he loves being an Astro, it's pretty evident that he took a red eye from the WBC in San Diego to be back here with the boys in West Palm Beach.
And he had to be convinced
not to play
the first day after flying back on the red eye. AJ sent him home, made sure he got his rest, but since then he's played the last 3 days. Yesterday played 9 innings as a designated hitter in Jupiter against the Miami Marlins.
Might be the only guy in spring you have to talk him into leaving the game in spring.
Matt Hogg sends one deep down the line in left field, but he hooks it and it's foul onto the concourse area. That was a long foul ball. It's 1-1.
Yeah, that's what pitchers always say, just a long strike.
Big first baseman for the Minnesota Twins. Mentioned the Twins didn't bring a whole lot of players that are going to be in their opening day lineup here. They have the unusual travel schedule right now. Being based in Fort Myers, having a game up here in West Palm Beach today, and tomorrow playing the Phillies in Clearwater. That's not exactly your back-to-backs that you like to see.
No, that's where being a manager or bench coach is really tough because you got to go wherever that team goes. You don't have the option for a fill-in coach.
No option for Paul Molitor or his coaching staff, but a lot of the players that are back in Fort Myers today we may see in Clearwater. 3 balls and 1 strike to Hogg. Just underway on another gorgeous sun-splashed afternoon in Palm Beach County. Keuchel misses away, ball 4. So a 2-out walk issued to the Twins first baseman Matt Hogg. For Keuchel, that is only actually that's his first walk allowed in 7 2/3 innings of action so far this spring.
And young or old, veteran or rookie, you're thoroughly annoyed when you give out a 2-out base on balls.
Chris Jimenez, the batter. He's having himself a nice spring, batting .320 with 5 runs batted in. And he misses on that pitch, the fastball, 0-1. Mentioned in the pregame show, good to see Colin McHugh get his work in, pitching 3 innings on the backfield in a minor league game. Keuchel was getting ready for his start today. The rest of the rotation was represented out there watching their starting mate Colin McHugh. 41 pitches in all. Said afterwards he felt like his breaking ball, he had really good command and felt like he was a little spotty with the fastball command. But that will come in time.
Yeah, I was impressed with the crowd back there. Ooh. There was a lot of interest in what Colin McHugh was doing. Also, Will Harris back there threw.
Will threw an inning. The starting pitchers were Will Harris and Colin McHugh for the intra-squad game. Preston Tucker, who's coming back from injury, had a chance to lead off for the first few innings for both sides.
I think we may have to name that the interest squad game.
There was a lot of interest. 0-2 to Jimenez down in the dirt, blocked by McCann. It's 1-2. Minnesota coming in with a record of 13-9 in spring training. The Astros 10-12-2. Minnesota also has a tie in there. Try to hold up, they appeal, and he goes around. Jimenez, a strikeout victim, 2 Ks for Dallas Keuchel in the first. We head to the bottom half of the first inning. On Root Sports is presented by Whataburger. Whataburger's Buffalo Ranch Sandwich has returned, but only for a limited time. And by the Houston Auto Show. Don't miss the world's top cars only at the Houston Auto Show, April 5th through the 9th at NRG Center. Astros fans on hand, watching on as we head to the bottom half of the first inning. The Astros will line up this way against the veteran Phil Hughes. George Springer, most at-bats for the Astros in 2017 spring training. He'll lead things off in center. Josh Reddick back in right. There's Jose Altuve and Brian McCann, 3 and 4. Yuli Gurriel with a nice day yesterday. Evan Gattis, Marwin Gonzalez, J.D. Davis, and Reed Brignac round out your lineup for A.J. Hinch.
Phil Hughes on the mound for the Minnesota Twins, trying to work his way back. Had an interesting year last year, only throwing 59 innings. Had thoracic outlet syndrome. Also had a busted kneecap on a ball back to the mound. Trying to work back in and get into that rotation for the Minnesota Twins. First round draft pick, 2004.
First batter he will face is George Springer. Springer coming in batting .234 this spring. Still looking for that first home run this spring, and he might have a shot at it here deep to right field. This is gone. There it is. Springer's first of spring training, and the Astros on one pitch jump in front 1-0.
There's always some interest around George Springer because of his pop. Why isn't he hitting lower in the lineup? But I think he fits well in this lineup right in the front end of the. Wow, I hesitated right there because that fastball was absolutely center cut, and George Springer didn't flinch at all. He just laid the head on that, drove it out the other way, but it gives you a good idea of his ability to take a pitch right down the middle, drive it out to center field. That one he drove out to right field. But he's such a threat. He immediately puts the pitcher on notice when he's leading off ball games.
He hit 8 leadoff home runs last year of his 29, and that matched a team record set by Craig Biggio in 2001. And you have to have a certain mentality to go up there as a leadoff hitter and be ready to ambush.
Wish I knew what that was. I didn't have the skill set to even think about it.
I mean, there are a lot of leadoff hitters, as Josh Reddick is down in the count 1-2, that will go up there and try and work counts. But if you are ready to swing from the first pitch, you might get your best pitch.
And we've almost seen some teams trending towards putting guys like that in the front, get them to see a little more pitch or see more pitches and be more aggressive on the fastball. With Toronto, was Jose Bautista got moved into that leadoff role. I believe Adam Jones got moved up into that role when he was scuffling a little bit. And I believe the theory is you're just going to see more fastballs early in count when you're leading off. But in essence, you're leading off the inning, and the worst you could do is a solo home run, but still you're doing damage.
1-2 the count to Josh Reddick. Phil Hughes misses up and away. It's 2-2. So George Springer, a home run to right field, getting things going for the Astros. His first of the spring, as we mentioned. Yesterday, Yuli Gurriel hit his first home run of spring training. As did Derek Fisher. There's a swing and a miss at a fastball. Reddick goes down as Phil Hughes picks up his first strikeout. I mentioned Hughes came over to the Minnesota Twins from the New York Yankees. Had an incredible year the first year he was in Minnesota. 2014, 16-10 with a 3.5 ERA. And last year was really a struggle for him with the injury, and even prior to the injury, was 1-7 with a 5.95 ERA. Altuve takes a called strike, 0-1. Jose picked up his second hit of spring training in his final at bat yesterday in the 9th inning against the Marlins. Now 2 for 20. And if you're going to see Jose Altuve and go 2 for 20 at any point of the season, it might as well be in spring training, because you will rarely see that once the bell rings. He batted .286 for Venezuela. That was a high strike called on Altuve, 1-2.
Yeah, that one kind of broke around the top of the zone.
Up and in, it's 2-2.
Phil Hughes with that fastball that he has likes his cutter a lot. Those are around 87, 88 miles an hour. You can see trying to front door it on the inside corner against Altuve, trying to bring it back.
One thing you know with Hughes, he will always be around the plate, as he is there just a little low, and now the count's full.
It's an interesting strike zone for Altuve in this AB. That looked like a pretty good pitch.
It's almost like the strike zones for a 6'5" hitter, because they called the high strike and missed the low strike.
You're right.
Home plate umpire Shane Livensparger, rookie umpire, getting a chance to work Major League spring training. Three and two the count to Jose Altuve. And there's one off the hip area of Phil Hughes. The shortstop throws bare hand late. And Jose Altuve will have himself a base hit. Eduardo Escobar tried to make the play after it hit Phil Hughes, who doesn't even want any trainer's visit.
Well, I think there's always concern around Phil Hughes, knowing the injury history that he has had. And we were talking about it before the game. JT Real Muto hit the line drive off his kneecap, busted that kneecap. So back up on the mound, and he is a large human being, 6'5", 220. Usually you hit him in those nice meaty parts of the quad, you should be okay.
But he has not pitched a whole lot since leaving that game with a compression fracture above his left knee. That happened June 9th of last year when Real Muto hit him with a line drive. So he's probably thinking, please, no more line drives right at me for a little while.
Yeah, you almost feel like they're aiming at you when you get hit that many times and cause that much damage.
Here's Brian McCann. You see his numbers this spring. Those 2 home runs came in back-to-back games against the Washington Nationals, the second one, and it went off the glove of Bryce Harper. The first one was a bomb over the visitors' bullpen. This one ripped foul in front of the pitch, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
So really 1.5 home runs?
Well, the one should count as 2.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
So that's where he made up for it.
That's
The
where
distance on the first one.
The first one landed on the walkway above the visitors' bullpen. So that one counts as 2. The other one was not a home run. Except for it was wind-blown, and Bryce Harper kind of Jose Canseco'd it by helping it over the fence. There's a ball hit hard past the diving second baseman into right field. Base hit past Ari Adrianza, and the Astros have 2 runners on with only 1 out.
McCann did a good job of pulling his hands in to turn on this. I know he's put a lot of emphasis on going the other way with the shifts being played against him. Sometimes he hit the ball just hard enough to get it past that second baseman like he did right there. He's been swinging the bat real well.
He really has, and it'll be fun to see how much he is shifted, and I know that's one thing he has been working on this spring, to try and work all fields. He had a stretch where he was 4 for 4 with those 2 home runs, and his 2 hits other than the home runs were to the left. But with the runner on there, they were back in the normal defense, and he didn't have the shift in that hole where he's had a lot of hits robbed lately, last few years. Here's Yuli Gurriel. Yuli a double and a home run in yesterday's game. Good signs as we have 12 days to go till opening day.
Yuli is just a good, pure hitter for me.
And he's in a hitter's count here at 2-0. So we've seen Hughes' fastball right around the upper 80s. He's a guy that has great command. In fact, he has a major league record to his name in that 2014 season. Best strikeout to walk ratio in the history of the game. So Gurriel can zone in on something here. That's low. It's 3-0.
Pulled the string on him in a 2-0 count. It's a sign of respect, seeing the off-speed pitch in a 2-0 count, but we have seen that a lot more these days in Major League Baseball. 2-0, 3-1 counts used to be fastball counts. Now the pitchers are working on those secondary pitches for strikes.
That's something Hughes hardly ever shows in the regular season. Righty on righty changeup. There's a fastball in the inner half, 3-1.
Now Hughes has the option. Does he come back with a fastball in a similar location, or does he throw that changeup? But when I say good professional hitting by Yuli, I mean he's always thinking up the middle to that other opposite field gap almost. If you make a mistake, he can still turn and burn.
There it goes to right center field. Good call, Blummer. Deep and gone. Almost the same spot as George Springer. Gurriel hits a 3-run home run to right center, and the Astros have jumped down 4-0.
Want me to go down and tell Yuli I appreciate him listening and doing exactly what we were asking him to do. Just drive a ball to that opposite field gap. There's no panic in his swing. Keeps that head still. Recognition. Let the ball travel and barrel it up and drive it. That is such a good sign. A lot of hitters will tell you that they are feeling extremely good when they are driving that ball to the opposite field gap.
Yuli finished the day yesterday with a double in his third at bat and a home run in his second at bat. So he has gone home run, double, home run. The 2 yesterday were to left, and today to right center field. So a 4 spot on the board already, just 1 out into the first. And Evan Gattis, the batter, with a 1-1 count. We have seen the wind be a big factor in some games this spring. Today, it's blowing out to right center, but not at some of the miles per hour we have seen earlier this spring.
This is much more calm than we are accustomed to seeing in some of the games we've been able to telecast here. Usually those flags are just blistered one way or the other.
So you can't really say Springer or Gurriel's home run was aided by the wind. Maybe slightly. It may have still gone because they were both hit very well to right center. There's a ball hit well to left field, and the Astros have another hit. That's 4 consecutive hits, 5 overall in the inning, including a couple of home runs. And Phil Hughes is in early trouble.
Hughes is making mistakes, and the Astros are not missing them.
Pitching coach Neil Allen trots out to talk to his veteran right-hander, 30-year-old. Mentioned the injuries last year curtailed his season to 11 starts. And he's still trying to work back into that velocity. We've seen him the last couple of years. He was more 92 and higher with the Yankees, and then first year with the Twins, and last year we've seen him drop right around 90. And today it's been mostly upper 80s.
Yeah, when you throw 92 or below these days in the major leagues, these guys are so good. It almost it's called hitting speed, which means a lot of these guys can catch up and adjust to 92 or less miles an hour. Once you start getting 92 plus into the mid 90s range, then you got to start reacting a little bit. But if you don't have that velocity to be able to go in there and blow the doors off guys, you've really got to work on location. Dallas Keuchel's a perfect case of that. Not a guy that's going to go out there and pump 92 plus. He's an 89, 90 type guy, but he's got good movement and able to live on the edges.
Little looper beyond short. Escobar gives it a look, but this is going to fall for a hit. Gattis trying to go first to third, and he will be out at third base. Good throw by J.B. Shuck in center on the little looper off the bat of Marwin Gonzalez. Evan trying to get aggressive there with 1 out.
I like it. You got to test it. Again, Shuck had to come in and barehand that. And this was not a good pitch, middle again. It wasn't ripped. But again, when you're missing out over the plate, sometimes even the drop shots fall in. But J.B. Shuck, see Evan Gattis forcing the issue. Delusions of 2015 when he led the league and led the Astros with 11 triples.
Yeah, I'd like to ask you about that. I really would. How did that happen?
He found every nook and cranny and crazy bounce, and I mean, there were drop shots that guys were diving at and missing, and he just put his head down and didn't stop until he got to third. It was pretty incredible to watch.
He went from 11 2 years ago to 0 last year.
I think the first ever in Major League Baseball to accomplish that feat.
With all those at bats. There's a ball ripped down the line, just foul, and a nice snag on one hop by that fan with the sombrero. And it's no balls and 2 strikes.
Evan was exhausted from the year before.
Yeah, 11
racking
triples.
up some mileage.
I remember in mid-season he had like 7 or so, and then I'm like that.
Well,
and then we ended up with double digits. I'm like, how did that happen?
It got to the point where we would giggle. We'd see a ball in the gap, it'd start bouncing around, and nobody could grab it. We're like, here he goes. He's going for 3. And sure enough, he'd end up on third base. It was unbelievable.
There's J.D. Davis, the hitter. 8th hitter in the inning against Phil Hughes. Hughes ahead of Davis, no balls and 2 strikes. And he gets Davis swinging at the fastball. That was his best fastball of the inning, 92 on the radar gun.
Big inning for the Astros. George Springer getting on the board this spring. First pitch, driving it out the other way. That is a good sign in this time of spring. Then Yuli Gurriel continuing the hot hitting and the great professional hitting, letting that ball travel and driving it out the other way. Astros out early.
We are back at the ballpark of the Palm Beaches, 4-0 Astros. We head to the 2nd inning. It is our distinct pleasure to welcome in the great Nolan Ryan. Nolan, thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure to be here today.
How'd you like that first inning?
I can relate to that, unfortunately, but, you know, that's what spring training's all about.
You can't relate very often, though. That couldn't have happened very often. But what was today like? You had a chance to talk to some of the starters a little bit?
Yes, we had a little meeting with the starting pitching and just talked about things in general and kind of opened it to questions, see if they had anything special that they wanted to talk about or ask about.
And your main theme was being prepared?
Yeah, just being prepared and trying to take charge of the game and pitch as deep into the game as you possibly can and you know, utilize your pitches but be efficient with them.
And that's a unique philosophy these days, because when you were pitching, and I'm looking at your numbers, 5,300, so, I mean, an amazing amount of innings. And we knew that you were a guy that wasn't afraid to throw 150 plus pitches in a game. How do you speak what you did to these players or these pitchers these days?
Well, obviously we've conditioned these pitchers to pitch differently than we did during the era that I came through in, and so what you do is say, hey, you know what you're dealing with. Try to maximize it as much as you can. And like I told those guys today, I said, AJ, if he feels like that you're on top of your game and that you're throwing strikes and that you haven't tired, he's apt to leave you in another inning. So instead of 100 pitches, you may get 115 pitches. And I told him, the longer you stay in there, the better chance you have of winning the ball game. And you know, your job is to give your team an opportunity to win the ball game, and that's what you're out there for. And the longer that you're in there and more efficient you can be, the better chance you have.
I thought you were going to say you just didn't trust anybody in the bullpen.
Well, you know what's interesting is that when we started games back in those days, our intent was to finish the game, and if we didn't, we were disappointing ourselves.
Yeah, you're right about that. A whole different mentality. We are thrilled to have executive advisor for the Astros and legendary Right-hander Nolan Ryan with us in the booth here in the second inning. First hit allowed by Dallas Keuchel was a little roller by Escobar that hit the bag. When you look out here, Keuchel making his third start of the spring, just 12 days to opening day. What things were you trying to accomplish when you knew you only had a couple more starts getting ready for the season?
Well, what I did is I tried to accumulate as many innings as I could in spring training because I was going to go through a period where I didn't have my fastball, and it may be a week, it may be 10 days, you know, and then when it came back, then I knew I was pretty much ready. But I wanted to work on my curveball and feel like that I had command of it, and then try to get somewhat consistent with my changeup. So there were things I tried to accomplish, and I wanted that to happen over the last week or so of spring training so I could pitch 7 innings before we came out of the camp.
Primarily a fastball pitcher in your career. Explain the importance of having that pitch and being able to locate it early in counts.
Oh, that sets the tone for that AB is that if you can get ahead of the hitter and you establish your fastball with them, then it gives you some option. And that was one of the things we discussed with the starters today, was not pitching a hitter back into a count. You know, if you get ahead of him,
right,
stay ahead of him. And we talked about those different things, and I'm a big believer in that, and feel like that my fastball was my bread and butter pitch, so I had to establish it early in the game, and wanted the hitters to know that I was hitting my spots, and then, you know, the second at bat or third at bat, then I could show them my curveball or go with a changeup or whatever.
Dallas Keuchel gets a double play after the infield hit, 2 outs, bases cleared. When you look at this team, a lot of people think this is an Astros team that's going to score a lot of runs. You obviously, as a former pitcher, like to watch pitching. What do you think of the pitching this year?
Well, I think our starting pitching, if they're healthy, I think they're going to compete well. And I think everybody feels like the bullpen is pretty solid. So to me, the thing that is the key is that we stay away from injuries. But I feel like when you look at our pitching staff versus some of the others, that those guys are good, and they're going to do well if they can stay healthy.
Do you have to run?
No.
Oh, you can stay for a half more?
Sure.
Oh, my goodness.
Man, this
what
is
a treat.
great.
Nolan Ryan, bottom half of the second inning, 4-0 Stros.
.13 ERA, 1,866 strikeouts. The biggest number on that page for me was the 38 complete games. The man wanted the baseball, and it was hard to take it out of there. And I remember a lot of these games growing up as a kid, watching you guys compete against the Los Angeles Dodgers, San Diego Padres, the Atlanta Braves, but good times to be had. Great ball clubs you were on, 7 total no-hitters in your career. Did any one of those no-hitters stick out to you as being one of the better performances or the most memorable?
Well, the most memorable may be the second no-hitter because it was the most dominating of the stuff of the no-hitters that I had. That stuff, and then it was ended with Norm Cash coming up to the plate with a piano leg.
Oh, my goodness. We are so happy to have Nolan Ryan in the booth with us. When you pitched in the Astrodome, Nolan, it was the fact that it was such a great pitcher's park part of how you pitched?
Well, and I tell people this.
Reed Brignac deep to center field, and this ball's off the glove of J.B. Shuck. Brignac's going to get all the way to third. Looked like Shuck got there and just had the ball glance off his glove.
He may have lost that in the light. I mean, in the sun.
What about the day's pitching of the Astros?
Well, you know, I love the Astrodome because of if you got behind in the count, you could throw a hitter out over the plate and just let him hit the ball a long ways for an out. And you had Cedeno and Cruz in left, and Terry Poole in right, and you had people that could run the ball down. And so from a pitching standpoint, it really made a difference.
There you see the final out, getting Dusty Baker.
That was number five. Yeah.
Bill Verdon.
Well, we've seen 2 home runs in this game. Rumor has it when you came over to the Astros, your first AB was pretty impressive.
Well, it was my second at bat
in
that game, and I tell people, you know, I hit half my home runs off Hall of Famers. You know, Don Sutton doesn't like to hear that, but then also Larry Durker and Bert Hooten hit home runs off me, and I'm not real fond of that either.
No. George Springer is the batter. Speaking of home runs, he hit one to right center field to start the game. First pitch of the game. Took it out to right center. We also saw Yuli Gurriel hit a 3-run home run. Astros leading 4-0 in the second inning. How much in spring training was it about with Brian McCann coming over to a new team, if you did have a new catcher for a particular year, getting on page with the guy you thought would be the #1 guy?
Well, you like to throw to him several times, so you get some rapport with them and get a feel for how they set up. And you know, as far as calling the game, I would shake until I got to the pitch I wanted. And so it wasn't like I worried about the game he called, because once they caught you a time or two, they got a feel for, you know, how you pitched, how you went about hitters. And so mainly a veteran catcher like him, he's going to pick up real quick on those guys.
You had one of the more traditional 12-6 breaking balls. Who influenced you to throw that type of breaking ball?
Well, I think it just had to do with my arm angle and the way I released the ball as it came out of my hand. But, you know, I was a Sandy Koufax fan growing up, and so I watched Sandy, and Sandy had a big over-the-top type curveball, and it was so effective that I felt like I'd like to have that type of pitch.
When you talk to this generation, I know Brent Strom was in there, the pitching coach, and he had some questions, but does this generation, or did these guys just soak it all in? Were there a lot of questions they had for you?
Well, what you try to do is get them relaxed with you and just kind of get some conversation, dialogue going, and then once one guy asks a question, and it just kind of carries over from there.
Well hit to center field. Shuck on the move, and this ball's off the fence on one hop. Reed Brignac will trot home, and George Springer has a double to go along with a home run today, and it's now a 5-0 Houston lead.
I don't believe I've seen a start of a game where somebody's got hit any harder than this.
I know. They keep talking about exit velocity, and there's a couple of swings. You can see this elevated fastball barreled up nicely from George.
Yeah.
If you saw a hitter on any given day get the barrel to your fastball, in your mind, what adjustments are you thinking of making?
Well, it depends on the hitter, because there's certain hitters, I don't care how hard you threw, they had the ability to catch up with you. You know, Sheffield or Clark or some of those guys. And so, you know, I took the mindset, well, I had to either slow their bats up or speed them up, depending on who the hitter was, and tried to then, you know, work my changeup in and do things of that nature to try to make some difference. Because if you just stood out there and just tried to throw the ball by some of those hitters that had really quick bats, that wasn't going to work.
Well, for me, that's impressive to hear, because you hear some guys that have great fastballs like you did get a little bit stubborn and say, oh, he got lucky that time. Instead of making the adjustments, they just keep pumping heaters. So that's pretty interesting to hear you talk about.
Well, you know, I tell people, of all the home runs I gave up, only 2 of them were pitches that I wanted in that situation. Rusty Staub hit one of them, and Johnny Bench hit the other one. And I made the pitch I wanted, and they hit home runs off of them. The rest of the time I was behind the count. I left the ball up in the zone.
Mistakes.
Hung Kirby, you know, or I got myself into a fastball count and had to throw a fastball. because it didn't have any other options, and gave up a home run there. So, you know, it just varied. So usually it was due to something I did on the mound that led to that.
So those two guys can feel really good about things. Rusty Staub and Johnny Bench. That's a short list of the hitters that of all those years hit the home run on the pitch that you wanted.
And you just had to say, well, hey, they beat me on that one.
And that's not too many times.
Yeah.
Did you ever tinker with your changeup grip, or was it pretty?
Oh, all the time until I really got a feel for the circle change. I had such a problem with the changeup because I threw it too hard, and because you throw it with the same arm speed, so you have to take your index finger and your middle finger off the center of the ball to take some velocity off of it. And so that's why the circle change works for me. And then it took a long time to master where consistently I had the right release point.
Josh Reddick, the batter. George Springer moves up to third. I'm enjoying this conversation so much I'm not even scoring the game.
Yeah,
we'll have to catch up after Nolan leaves this inning. But Josh Reddick sends one to left field. This is shallow. Not sure if it's going to be deep enough to score Springer, and he will hold at third as the throw comes all the way in.
I think the most fascinating thing for me is when you do talk to ball players is how the recollection of ABs, and like you were saying, the two pitches to Rusty Staub, Johnny Bench, how you remember those things. You remember the situations. I remember ball games. I'm sure you remember a lot of those things going back. But how much of that experience in facing those guys that you were able to lock away helped you when you faced them again down the road?
Well, that's what I did. I remembered certain hitters and what their strengths and weaknesses were, and I would recall that and how I was going to approach them. But I also went over our scouting reports. We didn't have the video that we have today and those things, but I would love it today where you could go in now. Towards the end of my career, if I could get Bert Blyleven, a game of him pitching against the team I was getting ready to face, we were similar in our approach and our stuff. And so I would watch Bert throw against somebody, and he gave me a pretty good read on how they handled his fastball and how they reacted his curveball. And Bert really didn't have a changeup in those days, and so we were very similar in a lot of ways.
And also with high strikeout counts too in your career.
Jose Altuve, the batter. This is probably a guy you're glad wasn't around when you were pitching. He's a tough out.
Oh, he is. And you know, what you don't realize is that he's able to hit bad pitches so well. You know, he gets the bat on the ball, which very few people swing as many balls out of the strike zone, and puts the ball in play and gets a lot of hits off of him. One, because of his speed, and two, he'll just flick it over the infield.
Is there anybody from your era that reminds you of Altuve, or Altuve reminds you of them?
Well, Jose Cruz was a real good bad ball hitter, and he hit a lot of bad balls, but he didn't have the speed that Altuve has. Obviously, that's such an asset for him because he can get so many infield hits and make things happen for you.
You've been a part of a lot of excitement in the city of Houston over your career. This could be a special team, and you mentioned the health of the pitching staff. You think this team has a chance to?
Oh, I really do, and I think it's a health of the entire ball club as long as we don't have key injuries to people that are going to impact the success of the ball club. And we're going to have some injuries. That's just given over the course of a season, but you want them to be as minimal as possible, and you don't want it. And I think as we look at the ball club, if one of our starters went down, it'd probably have more of an impact than if we had one of the position players, because we have some versatility within our ball club.
McCann hits one to left field, and Tommy Field drifts over to his left to make the play. Altuve bluffs a tag and will hold up.
And then speaking of the starters, Colin McHugh threw on the backfield. I noticed that you were in the stands watching that. What were you looking for from Colin?
Well, I just wanted to see how he threw and how he held up, and he pitched 4 innings. And I thought the first inning that he was wild within the zone, left some balls out over the plate that they had some pretty good swings at. But after that, he settled in. I thought he made his pitches, and I thought he maintained his stuff through the 4 innings. And so I was really pleased for what I saw. and the way he finished. So I'm very optimistic that you know, he's going to get the opportunity to stay in the rotation the rest of the spring and get some innings in.
You saw McHugh, you saw Will Harris, you saw the young stud Francis Martes. Are you able to watch the game as a fan, or are you always watching kind of as a scout executive advisor?
Well, you know what I do is because of the length of my career and because it was my life, I view the game differently than the average fan. I'm watching the pitchers. I'm watching how the hitters react to it. So, I mean, I'm watching it as if I was going to pitch against those guys, and it's just that's just the way it is.
I love that. So you're still in your mind seeing yourself out there.
Well, I'm scouting hitters and watching pitchers and you know, I guess you could say with a critical eye.
I love that.
So last year I'm on a plane and I'm watching the documentary called Fastball, and you were a part of that. And according to that, you were recorded with the fastest fastball ever. Do you believe that, and do you remember what pitch that was?
Well, when they did that, Rockwell International did it, and why it was recognized by the Guinness Book of World Records is because it was done scientifically, and they shot a beam down in front of home plate. Well, they only got 30% of the pitches because they were in the center of the plate, and you don't throw the center of the plate. And it was recorded in the 9th inning against B.B. Richards against the White Sox, and did it feel any different than the other fastballs? No, that I threw. It just happened to be the one that passed through the beam that recorded it. And, you know, I can say this, because of the length of my career and because of being around the game as long as I have, I've gotten to see a lot of really good arms. And I tell people, I think Billy Wagner threw as hard as anybody I ever saw. And I always enjoyed watching Billy pitch because he really had a good arm.
That ball jumped out of his hand.
It did come out of his hand.
Yuli Gurriel with a double into left center field. Gurriel now, his last 4 at-bats, has gone double, home run, double. So he's picking it up. This is a good sign. The Astros are putting up some numbers today. 6 runs on 9 hits. We're only in the 2nd inning.
Yeah.
You feel for the guy, right?
Oh, you know, you do, because you just have to, if you're Phil Hughes, you have to put this game out of your mind and just going about your work and think about what you weren't doing. He obviously doesn't have command of anything today, and so he just has to go back and start getting ready for his next start.
Where was your favorite place to pitch?
Oh, it varied. I really enjoyed Kansas City when they opened that new ballpark and with the fountains, and for some reason I pitched well there, even though they had good ball clubs. I don't know why, but I just had a real good feel with that stadium. And I think certain players have certain stadiums that they just have a real comfort level in. I didn't like Yankee Stadium because home plate was too far from the backstop, and Dodger Stadium was the same way. I liked the backstop right up against home plate. You just felt like that it was more intimate, and you were throwing harder, and it just had a feel to it.
That and Dodger Stadium, you always knew you were going to be matched up in a pretty good battle with somebody from that other side.
Well, they had their fair share of pitching, and when I was with the Astros, they were really a quality ball club all the way through, and so you knew you were going to be in a battle with those guys.
Evan Gattis, the batter. Astros have scored 6 runs on 9 hits. There's 2 outs, 2 runners on. And it's 2-2 to Evan Gattis. Nolan, we thank you for taking the extra half inning to stay with us, because we
No, it's tremendous.
Well, I enjoyed it, and we can thank Phil Hughes for giving us time.
Great to have you in the
All
booth
right.
with us. We'll see you throughout the season, and thank you so much.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. It should be a fun year.
Evan Gattis at the plate with a count of 2-2. The Astros with 4 runs in the first, 2 runs in the second. And Nolan Ryan has joined us in the booth for this 2nd inning. We hope you enjoyed it at home as much as we did in the booth. That's fly ball to right, and that'll do it. We head to the 3rd with Houston leading 6-0.
Can't thank you enough. Thank you.
Twins, we go to the third. Stay connected to Astros baseball all season long with the MLB.com @Bat mobile app. Customize the app for the Astros all spring, plus get the app's best features all season long by subscribing to @Bat Premium. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Download MLB.com @Bat today, the #1 app for live Astros baseball. Dallas Keuchel taking the mound again, and we've talked a lot about just him getting healthy for the season, coming into 2017 feeling really good, especially after ending his season a little early with that shoulder soreness that he dealt with starting in August and then through September. But this time around, you know, he spent a lot of time in Houston, of course, with Jake Biding, the strength coach for the Astros, on a program that they talked about. There was a lot of thought that went into that. But, you know, he's 29, guys, and that's very young, of course, to all of us. But in the baseball world, the body is getting up there, and the number of pitches that he's thrown in his career at this point, he's really trying to put himself in a position where he can play for a long time. So he's trying to find different ways to keep himself healthy, keep himself out there and feeling his best. And of course, he's always been a big workout guy and very competitive in the weight room, just as much as he is on the field. We know that about him. But one thing he did do is he talked to Carlos Beltran a lot when he got to know him early in the offseason, or the time that he spent with him, on what he does. How have you hung around so long, and got some good tips. But the recovery is very important. The massages are important, and even the cardio and how much he's doing. He's changed a little bit over the years, but these guys are constantly trying to find ways to stay in the game as long as they possibly can.
I like that. So even as a pitcher, he went to Carlos and found out what his regimen was, huh, Julia?
It's a good guy to go to. He is still hanging around and feels good too, you know, talking to Carlos Beltran about his body and how good he feels just on the field, and how he's plays in so many games over the years, and he's had to change a lot. I mean, they're constantly just working on you know, different things, different workouts. They find different ways to strengthen their bodies. And you know, I mean, every year we hear about a new technique, or what was it, George Springer did gymnastics a couple years ago and added that into his workout regime. So it's interesting, you know, and they're constantly getting better and coming up with new ideas. The strength coaches that they're hiring as well. Jake Biding has lots of great ideas. But it's collaborative. They all have to work together and figure out the best plan.
Base hit into left field off the bat of J.B. Shuck. Former Astro, started his career in 2011 with the Stros. He's a leadoff base runner here in the third.
I actually think that's a great story to back up what we just had a couple innings ago, or last inning with Nolan Ryan, is that he watches hitters. He talks to hitters. He wants to know those things. And along with learning about workout regimens, I guarantee you that Dallas Keuchel, Colin McEwen, these guys will have conversations about approach from some hitters. That'll help those guys figure out how to attack hitters across the league. So there's a lot of information being exchanged.
Love having Nolan in the booth.
That was incredible.
The fact that he stayed for the extra half inning was cool. There's always a part of me that feels slightly like the Chris Farley character that, you know, interviewed Paul McCartney, where he's like, that fifth no-hitter that you threw.
That was awesome.
There's a ball in the right center
So
field.
true.
And this one's going to land for a hit and go all the way to the wall. So the Twins will get on the board with their first run as Shuck comes around to score on Ari Adrianza's RBI double. First run that Keuchel's allowed, not only this spring, but first run that Keuchel's allowed in a spring training game since 2015. Didn't allow any spring training runs last year. Now 6-1.
Pretty impressive stuff.
Yeah, good chance for Keuchel and others. I think there were 7 or 8 starters in there today to listen to Nolan and ask questions and you know, pick the brain of somebody who has been there and done that for years and kept his body in phenomenal shape to pitch to the age he did.
Yeah, there's another guy you can talk to about his regimen as far as trying to stay in shape for 27 seasons.
How about that?
You look at his baseball reference page and it goes on forever, and it baffles the mind, especially having played the game, trying to understand how somebody did it for that long. But again, it was interesting to hear him talking about how his generation is different than this generation, and trying to bridge that gap and communicate to these guys about how to go out there and pitch and trying to get deep into games. He knows they're not going to throw complete games and be able to go 150 pitches. So he just figures out how to talk to these guys. You heard him say efficiency. We heard him talk about the importance of first pitch fastball and throwing a strike early in the count to command the AB, and that'll help you get deeper into games.
Yeah, 324 wins over 27 seasons. 8-time All-Star. He owns or shares 53 different Major League records. We could be here the rest of the day and
You really could.
And list his numbers. I know.
And still be shocked at how great those numbers are.
Nolan now spending a half inning in the radio booth with Robert Ford and Bill Brown. We may hear Brownie on our telecast at some point.
That would be fun.
That's
He's in town.
That's the plan. Brownie's been doing a little radio work, so we've asked him to come back to his TV roots.
Well, you know what's great is that Brownie, announcing for the Astros through that generation and that era. I can't imagine the conversations they're having over there. I'm not encouraging you to go listen to the radio.
Yeah, don't leave us.
But Brownie will come over here, and I'm sure we'll hear some Nolan Ryan stories when he comes over. It would be great to have him back.
Drew Stubbs, the hitter. 2-2 is the count. Nobody out. A leadoff single followed by a double. Scored the Twins' first run of the game. We are in the top half of the third inning. We had Nolan Ryan on in the second. He was kind enough to stay in the bottom half of the second. We're going to hear from A.J. Hinch in the top half of the fourth inning. Keuchel's scheduled to go hopefully 5 innings, depending on the pitch count. There's a line drive caught by J.D. Davis on the fly. That'll be the first out of the inning. The thing he was talking about, the changeup, I thought was interesting too. How he could never throw it with enough separation between his fastball and his changeup. He threw the changeup too hard, and if you don't have at least 8-10 miles an hour separation, the guys can adjust to that. And it took him a while to find that right circle change that worked for him.
Let's be honest. Did he really need the changeup?
Probably not.
Yeah, he just needed to have it written in a scouting report so somebody maybe went, oh, a changeup. But come on. I mean, every video I have ever seen of the guy, just been turbo heater with the turbo breaking ball to put guys away. But it was also great for me to hear him talk about the adjustments that he's making in game at bat to at bat.
Reading the bat.
Yeah. He's paying attention to the hitters. He's still paying attention to the hitters apparently out there on the backfields too.
A really unbelievable asset to have. His son Reed, of course, is the team president. He was out there on the backfields today as well watching. Here's a ground ball past the mound. Brignac comes in, and he'll make the play for the second out.
And think about that. Craig Biggio, Hall of Fame. Nolan Ryan, Hall of Fame. Jeff Bagwell going into the Hall of Fame. Roger Clemens we've seen floating around. He's getting consideration for the Hall of Fame with electric numbers over his career. So there are people around this organization. Even if you go back to Adam Everett is back there on the backfields doing a great job working with these young men, trying to get them prepared to make plays here at the big leagues. Morgan Ensberg's going to be managing in Tri-Cities. So there are plenty of guys, and I think that's great for organizations to do, is to keep big leaguers around so that these guys can have access to them and pick their brain a little bit and maybe enjoy some of the stories that those guys tell.
You talk about baseball royalty, and that's a great point. I mean, seriously, in West Palm Beach.
Oh, Jose Cruz is in Houston all the time, too. Another great Astro.
You've got Bagwell and Biggio, who were spending time in the dugout the other day. Most games as teammates in the history of the game, and both now Hall of Famers. You've got Nolan Ryan. Nobody's ever thrown more no-hitters in the history of the game than Nolan. You got Roger Clemens. No one's ever won more Cy Youngs in the history of the game than Roger Clemens. I mean, you've got the elite of the elite in the history of the game, all part of both Astros history or attached to the organization and here in spring training for these guys to pick the brains up.
Yeah, and it's funny. They're not down in the dugout, talking about their exploits or how great their generation was. They are trying to help these guys get better. They truly want that.
Oh, it's, you see these guys and you're awed by them, and then you think about when you put them all together, wow, this is the top echelon in the history of the game of guys that have been through camp so far this spring.
Well, I was telling you in between, Enos Cabell's in that mix on the field every once in a while. Art Howe, we get to work with him.
Ground ball finds its way into the outfield for a 2-out RBI for Matt Hogg. That will score the second run as crossing the plate is Adrianza. It's 6-2.
It's going to sound really weird, but it's almost when you talked about the spring that Dallas Keuchel had last year where he didn't give up an earned run. It's kind of, we talked about how it's almost good to see these guys in some high stress situations and see how they manage their way out of it and work with it. Not that you want to see Keuchel struggle at all, but he's had to work a little bit, which is good to see.
He's approaching 50 pitches, and the original plan was around 65, 70, maybe 75. We may have A.J. Hinch have to leave us again in the middle of an inning if his pitch count rises towards the fourth.
As long as it's a pitch count thing, it's okay.
There you go. Chris Jimenez, the batter. Keuchel right now will make his 50th pitch of the game. He's allowed 3 hits in this inning, 4 overall, as well as a walk. And there's a called strike. 0-2. Jimenez struck out his first time up, one of 3 strikeouts for the Astros left-hander. One and 2 the count. Astros with a day off tomorrow. As mentioned, we will hear from A.J. Hinch, but I know for A.J. and the rest of the front office, it's a day of planning tomorrow to pretty much put everybody on the right schedule leading up to the home opener, which will be a week from Monday, just 12 days away. Pitch down low, it's 2-2. 12 days away, meaning Keuchel, McCullers should get an extra day off as they get ready. They have been going every 5 days, but as they get ready for their final couple of starts this spring, usually you want the most innings you pitch in a spring outing to be not your very last start, but your second to last start. And then that last start's more of a tune-up.
Kind of keep the routine.
Mm-hmm. So Keuchel will get stretched out today and then his next start, and probably just have a little shorter outing to wrap up his spring training. There's a ground ball to Brignac, and Jimenez is retired. So that'll do it for the Twins. They do score 2. It's now a 6-2 Houston lead. As we head to the bottom half of the third inning, 6-2, you can get single game tickets for the 2017 season and see incredible games like the Astros home opener, as well as matchups against the Yankees, Red Sox, and Rangers. Visit Astros.com for more info or call 1-877-9-ASTROS. How about that opening day, Blummer? Hour-long pregame show. Seattle Mariners picking up coverage at 6 o'clock. We're going to have all the upgrades to Minute Maid Park, as well as the team introductions on their respective foul lines.
Yeah, that's going to happen on April 3rd, 7 p.m. Those guys in the studio are going to be working it out. I know they're already making notes. Going to be excited to tell us about the new acquisitions. Got a new ball club, new broadcast team. Got a new new ballpark basically in center field. It's going to be revamped. There's a lot of new things to come out to the ballpark and see, but it is going to be an exciting time, especially to kick off this 2017 campaign.
Yeah, there'll be a whole new, and we haven't even seen it. It's still.
I know. I'm anxious.
We're going to see the whole new center field area, where a lot more viewing space for fans. They can walk around the concourse, hang out in center field, watch the game from there. and our pre and post game shows are going to be out there as well. So that'll be very interesting to see not only the new guys with the team, but the new innovations to the stadium, Lexus center field area. Marwin Gonzalez will lead things off for the Astros here in the third. New pitcher for Minnesota as Phil Hughes' day is over. And that's the right-hander Nick Anderson. Gonzalez singled to left center field his first time up. Swings at the first pitch and pops it foul. It is drifting towards the crowd and exactly one row deep as Jimenez ran out of room. So Phil Hughes ended up going 2 innings and allowed 9 hits and 6 runs. 5 of those 6 runs are earned. They did call an error on J.B. Shuck on the ball that was hit by Reed Brignac to start the second inning. Yuli Gurriel, a couple of extra base hits. George Springer, a couple of extra base hits. Jose Altuve with a couple of hits. Altuve now has hits in 3 straight at bats after starting the spring 1 for 19. Pitch misses 1-1 the count to Gonzalez. Ball and 2 strikes. We're back with you on Saturday on Root Sports, the first of 3 consecutive telecasts. We will have Saturday, Sunday, both afternoon games against the Washington Nationals. And then Monday night we'll round out our Grapefruit League coverage. We will have another telecast for you prior to the season when the Chicago Cubs head to Minute Maid Park for a 2-game set prior to the season starting. Count is 2-2 on Gonzalez. Marwin getting a chance to play left field today. He made 14 starts in left field last year. Ended up playing out there a total of 19 games.
It's good for Marwin to be able to do. Pretty good athlete. We know he plays all over the infield. Played a ton of first base last year, but still a good bat to get in that lineup every once in a while. Sometimes it might be in left field.
In the air to center, J.B. Shuck is there, and there's 1 out.
Talked about things to be excited about back in Houston, and our ballpark bio is going to focus on Minute Maid Park in downtown Houston, Texas. Got that retractable roof, but center field where Towles Hill, it was legendary. 90 feet wide. You see that 30-degree angle going up that hill with the flagpole in play. No more. Base of the wall will be at the base of what used to be Towles Hill. It'll be around 9 feet tall. Go the expanse, creating a better batting eye, some better camera angles for us to watch the ball game, but also much more entertainment as far as food, beverages. I think they're even going to move some of the Root Sports personalities out there in center field for pregame, postgame. It'll be nice, interactive with the fans. There's a great conceptual drawing of what it's going to look like when we get there. That's beautiful.
That's vastly different. That is a huge difference from last year. Look at all those areas where fans can watch the game from center field now.
You know what's great, too, is now that concourse, that main concourse will wrap all the way around the stadium. So you can take one entire lap around that ballpark, which will make it much better for the fans to enjoy the ball game.
It's a whole different game in center field now.
Yes.
If pitchers thought that long fly balls would end up dying out there in center, they may now have something different.
And you know, it's one of those things. I know that the Astro hitters too were a little discouraged when they drove balls out there that were caught.
Ace hit for J.D. Davis in the left field.
But much, you know, those guys are going to reap the rewards. But still, 409 feet with a 9-foot high wall, you're still going to have to pummel that baseball to get it out of there.
Yeah, it's still legit.
but it's
just
not going to be in play.
436
Yeah.
with Dallas Hill in the way. 10 hits for the Astros. We're only in the third inning. First hit allowed by Nick Anderson. Anderson pitched last year for both Cedar Rapids in the Midwest League and Fort Myers in the Florida State League. All out of the bullpen. 6'5", 195-pound right-hander. Originally drafted by Milwaukee in 2012. And he was signed out of an independent league a couple of years ago by the Twins. Brignac hit a ball deep to center field that J.B. Shuck got to, just didn't catch. It went for an error, 3-base error. There's Brignac with a ball down the line. Fair ball, extra bases. Around third comes Davis. He's going to be waved home, and he will score standing. Reed Brignac, an RBI double down the line. Reed's having himself a nice spring, and the Astros lead it 7-2.
Yeah, he was a curious story coming into this spring training. Primarily a left-handed batter in his career, as you see him turn on it, sneak it down that right field line for an RBI double. But he decided to take up right-handed hitting at the big league level and switch hit, and it's worked out well for him, getting a couple knocks. But also interesting in the sense that he may not make this roster and make himself available to other teams around the league, and I definitely think he's made a name for himself again.
That's now 13 hits for Brignac.
Nice.
One shy of Colin Moran for the team lead this spring. You're right. If you're learning to switch hit at the major league level and you're hitting about 330 on the spring, that's a nice combination.
Pretty impressive. Not only does it tell you something about the athletic ability of Reed Brignac, it tells you that he has the mentality to fight through some of the struggles that you're going to have and stick with it.
2 of his 13 hits have been right-handed, including a triple. And he feels like when he got in bad habits in the past, he would a couple of times turn around and hit right-handed in the cage, and that would get him back to a solid lefty swing where he wasn't pulling off. And this spring, his lefty swing has been on point. And here's George Springer. Springer, all of a sudden, home run and double today, batting for the third time in the third inning. And he's got a 3-0 count. Astros bats coming alive today against Phil Hughes and the Minnesota Twins. There's a ball ripped right at the third baseman. First time Springer has been retired as he hits a bullet to third, 2 away.
Third base, oh, such a fun position when you've got right-handed hitters that can absolutely destroy baseballs. And this one squared up nicely from George. Another center cut fastball. He did not miss. Seed right at the third baseman.
We've seen some good at-bats today for a lot of different guys. Springer,
good to see.
Springer has hit the ball very hard 3 times. Here's Josh Reddick, fouls one away. Reddick still looking for those consistent ABs this spring, coming in the .229 batting average. Did have a 3-hit game earlier this spring. It was a night game. That's a called strike on the inner half, 0-2. Reddick is the only guy in the lineup still looking for a hit, and we're only in the third inning. 11 hits. Everybody else in the lineup, 8 of the 9 have hits. It has been one of those days for both Astros hitters and the Twins pitchers. 0-2 is down the left field line, long run, and getting there in time for the final out. Was put away by Tommy Field, and that'll do it for the Stros, but they add another run. We'll hear from A.J. Hinch in the 4th. 7-2 in favor of the Astros. Joining us now from just outside the dugout is the manager of the Houston Astros, who's pretty much become the fourth member of our broadcast team.
Oh, yeah.
AJ Hinch. How are you today, AJ?
I feel like I told you earlier, I feel like an everyday player. So I appreciate that feeling. I've never had that before at this level.
11 hits and 7 runs. You got to love things so far today, huh?
Yeah, we've swung the bat pretty well, and we're starting slowly but surely to get our group together. It's funny when Jose comes back and Jose hits. The lineup feels like it's functioning properly. You know, obviously George sets a tone at the top, so pretty fun lineup to write.
Talk a little bit as we watch Reed Brignac make the play across the diamond for the out. Explain to us the thoughts behind having George Springer at the top. He's a unique talent, but he is hitting leadoff for you.
Yeah, you see the first pitch of the game?
that is odd. But
that might be my best case of explaining exactly what happens. But so George is a terrific hitter. He obviously can be very productive. He has a ton of energy. And I love the threat. I love the home run threat. I love the on-base skills. And then when the lineup rolls back around, like his next two at-bats, they're run productive type at-bats. The leadoff spot is on this particular team is for the first at-bat of the game. So, you know, when you walk up there and you have a 6'3", 225-pound George Springer, like, you better be ready from pitch one. Obviously, today's a good example of that. But his energy, his on-base skills, and ultimately, I want him to get as many at-bats as possible, and the best way to do that is hit the top of the order.
What have you seen out of Dallas today?
You know, early on, he's had some long innings that he's had to deal with, but I'm glad he had a little bit of adversity in the third. But I think he's starting to get a little bit more comfortable with his stuff. The ball on the ground is a key component for him. Obviously, he keeps the ball down, he keeps the ball moving. He's still able to get a few the comeback sinker I think he threw and got a punch out. He's had a couple good breaking balls. I'm seeing 90 on the board, which this gun's a little bit different on the. I'm not even sure how accurate it is, but there's just an element of being a complete pitcher today that I see out of Dallas as his outings are getting underway.
Altuve back from the WBC. Just from watching him over the last couple of years and watching him now in spring, he looks a little bit uncomfortable. Could you give us an idea where he's at right now?
So he's meticulous in his prep, and he has, he didn't get a chance to hit a lot of time in the cage. He didn't have a chance for BP every day. They had every other day playing in the WBC, and he's built on routine. And he's built on his structure that he's designed over the last couple of years. And anytime you break that, he's very uncomfortable. So when he came back, he came in my office and said immediately, I want to play every game. We only have 10 games left. I said, well, I don't really want to play you every game, but I will get him as many at-bats as I can in days in a row. We have a day off tomorrow, so he's played the first 3 games. This will be his last at-bat this next inning. Only 4 innings, but he's built on this routine that's produced a few hits the last few years. So I'm not gonna mess with him too much and just get him in and get him out. And try to get him on this routine before the season starts.
Good to see him finish yesterday with a double, and then today a couple of hits. Speaking of consecutive hits, Yuli Gurriel, home run double his last 4 at bats.
Yeah, he's gonna put somebody else in the 9 hole if he keeps doing this. So I planned on hitting him at the bottom of the order, but he's been pretty spectacular.
J.D. Davis makes the strong throw across, 2 outs.
Day off Thursday, I believe, right?
Tomorrow, yeah.
Day off tomorrow, yep. 1 week from today, we're loading these boys up and bringing them back to Houston. So I think the day off will be a full, complete day off for everybody. I've even told our coaches, our trainers, I don't want anybody in the
no
complex.
Way. That's what I was going to get at, because normally it's a day off for players, but usually managers and coaching staffs, you don't get any days off. What do you do? What are you going to do on the day off tomorrow?
I told them, I said, I got technology all over this new facility, so I've got cameras everywhere. So if you show up, I'm going to be really upset.
Of course, we get a quick inning with you on headset. AJ, thank you so much.
Hey, pick your own friends on the off day tomorrow. We'll see you.
That's AJ Hinch. It's 7-2 Stros.
I was with my classmates. We had to drive maybe an hour in the rain. We get in a car accident.
Are now available. Every year, Grand Slam for Youth Baseball awards college scholarships to qualifying high school seniors.
have come alive, leading the Twins 7-2 here in the bottom of the fourth, and kick off your weekends during Friday night home games at Minute Maid Park with the best fireworks show in town. For more information, visit Astros.com or call 1-877-9-ASTROS. A lot of fireworks here today with this lineup, but there were some additions, and it seemed like emphasis for the Astros, Todd, that they were looking for guys that were going to go out there and make contact.
Well, you look at the percentage of strikeouts for these three guys, Nori Aoki, Jose Altuve, Josh Reddick. Aoki and Reddick, of course, coming over this offseason. You're talking about 3 of the top 30, and really Reddick's numbers are better if you take out that time he spent with the Dodgers last year when he was learning a new league. So that's pretty impressive. And you've known, having watched this offense, they are a big swing and miss, and they go for the big fly a lot, but they also have lacked contact at times the last few years.
Yeah, we've heard the theory that as long as they're driving the ball out of the ballpark, you'll deal with the strikeouts. But I think that last year was a little demonstrative in the sense that they were striking out over 25% of the time, and a lot of the time with runner in scoring position or a runner at third base less than 2 outs, where there should be relatively easy RBIs to help this pitching staff out. But going out there and picking up guys that are going to go out there and give you some strong professional at-bats and not punch out was definitely an emphasis of theirs.
If they can improve moving the baseball in those situations, I mean, with the other additions they've made, we've said in the beginning of spring, and I don't say it lightly because it doesn't happen much, but this is a team that could average close to 5 runs a game. And that doesn't happen much anymore in the major leagues. I want to say it's happened 4 or 5 times in the last 5 years. Boston a couple of times, and Toronto had that one monster year. But averaging 5 runs a game does not happen much anymore in the post-steroid era of baseball, as Jose Altuve takes a pitch from the new right-hander Alex Wimmers outside 1-0. But you hear from A.J. Hinch, I mean, Yuli Gurriel, really a 9-hitter?
That's what shocked me, too. I was like, wow. You're going to just push this guy down into that 9-hole, but
he's a 5 or 6 hitter on a lot of teams.
Yeah, that would be an interesting conversation in itself. Hey, Yuli, I know you're raking. You had a phenomenal spring. You're driving the ball all over the ballpark. You'd be great in the 9-hole. After coming from Cuba, where he was a 4-hole hitter,
where he was
for the last 15 years, you know.
He was the stud of Cuba, Cuba's national teams for all those years. But yeah, it's an offense that 1 through 9 is going to really be tough for opposing pitchers.
Yeah, and you've read the same reports I have from all these websites, Fangraphs, Baseball Prospectus, and a couple of them have actually said that the Astros lineup is the deepest in baseball.
This is going to be Jose Altuve's last at bat. I'm sure he would rather play the whole game, but you heard AJ say he wants to give him, with tomorrow off, the extra time. So Jose's riding a 3 consecutive at-bat hitting streak here. He's got a hit to end yesterday's game, and today he's 2 for 2. And he's got a 3-1 hitters count here against Alex Wimmers.
Get used to that.
And there's ball 4. Will AJ let him run, or will he send out a pinch runner? Looks like they're up. His day is done. Altuve is on base all 3 times today, and he will head out. Jack Mayfield will take over as the pinch runner.
Yes. Super Jack. Jack has played himself into the hearts of Astro fans and broadcasters alike.
Altuve had played 3 consecutive days after taking the red eye back and having the 1 day off. And so now he'll get at least half of a day off plus tomorrow, and high fives all around. Here's Brian McCann, runner on first and nobody out. Pitch from Alex Wimmers is a called strike, 0-1. Wimmers, a 28-year-old right-hander. I said that was Jack Mayfield. Mayfield was 82 last game. Today 82 is Mott Hyde. It's not Super Jack. Super Jack's more for late inning heroics.
He is. He's holding on to him. The secret weapon.
Way too early for Jack.
Jack doesn't come in this early.
This is Mott Hyde wearing 82 today. The minor league guys don't always get the same uniform. So today Mott Hyde's wearing 82.
Hey, I didn't check my texts.
I just looked at it to make sure. I'm like, I better check to see if that is Mott Hyde running for Jose Altuve. Mott was playing in that game.
Yeah, he was on the backfield facing Colin McHugh.
Got here in time to get in a big league spring training game. There's a foul ball off the bat of McCann. It stays 0-2.
It's a unique finish to the swing from Brian McCann, holding on with the top hand. Yeah, the joy of a minor leaguer. You love coming over here and playing in these big league games, but yeah, you're going to get your work done on the minor league side, especially this late in camp when everybody in the organization is here.
Swing and a miss. McCann goes down. He's now 1 for 3. What's going on, Julia?
Hey guys, as Yuli Gurriel comes up here after hitting a home run today, we're excited to see what he can do this season. He's our Advocare Building a Champion. You know what interesting thing he said to me today? He's been in the U.S. for 10 months, still trying to learn English, but just to look back at some of his accolades and what he did in his career, still he thinks the best is yet to come here in the major leagues, and just his dream of playing over here, of course, since he was a kid, and all the players that he's seen from his country come over here and succeed. So yeah, we take another look at it here, debuting in Cuba there in 2001 at the age of 17. So he's done a lot, obviously become a great hitter, was one of the best of all time over there. And the adjustment that he's had to make, not only baseball-wise, I know we were talking about this a couple of days ago, but just in life. Like I said, being in the States for not even a year now, and getting used to even the food and just the way things are here in the States. But the baseball part of it, too, is always hard. You know, with so many days off in Cuba, and then, of course, in Japan, where he played, too. They get a lot of days off, too, not so much here. So spring training's new for him, just constantly trying to make the adjustment as he figures his way out here in the big leagues.
Yeah, he said in that article yesterday in USA Today about the time spent at the ballpark, how it's vastly different in the States than it was in Cuba.
You know, oh, sorry to jump in, but of all those things you think about, it just when they asked him to move over to first base, he was probably like, sure, you know.
Exactly.
You know, why not? You know, so many changes. But the way that he moved over here, moved over to first base last year when they asked him to, and didn't think twice about it. You know, I mean, he's just been around the game for so long. We think of him as a rookie over here, but he knows the game and can definitely handle anything that's thrown at him. So I think that's the most impressive part about him. And just as he figures out his teammates and, of course, the English language, just extremely impressive.
Are you sensing more at ease this year? Last year, everything was so new.
Definitely. Yeah, you know, and they said that he was an even-keeled guy coming over, the people that did know him a little bit. I even asked Leonis Martin, also from Cuba, who's been over here for a few years, but they, of course, know each other from their time playing over there. And he said, yeah, he's a real cool guy, real calm. He said he was real calm. And so you see that. You see it in his bats, but you see it in the clubhouse as well. But I definitely sense just being comfortable and being able to make some friends in there and know where his little group is, and knowing who he can lean against, and getting to know the coaching staff and some of the hitting coaches. I think it'll help him.
0-2 the count on Evan Gattis pitching the dirt. It's a ball and 2 strikes.
I think that's one of the more understated things in baseball, is understanding that these guys are coming over here playing with the pressure of being in the big leagues, but they also have to adapt as humans to our culture. It's not that easy. They don't know the language. They don't know the food. They don't know where to go, when to go. So there's a lot put on these guys in minor leagues to be able to develop that routine. And, again, gaining the trust of guys in the clubhouse on who you can go to when things are going bad.
Yeah, there's a few guys that have played in the major leagues that eventually find themselves playing in Japan or in another country. And then those guys get to experience in reverse what a lot of those guys have dealt with. It is not an easy transition. Some handle it better than others.
Well, and I think for the most part, when guys go over to Japan, which I would imagine would be a tough thing to go do, they actually give you a translator to be able to, you know, work through life over there. They don't do that here. You're going to have other Latin players on your team, but you don't have that designated guy that's going to be able to translate English to Spanish and get you around town and help you kind of branch out a little bit. Because I know when I was in the minor leagues, a lot of these Latin guys, especially when I played short season A-ball, I came out of college and I was playing with 17-year-old Dominican Republic guys in Burlington, Vermont. They didn't know what was going on. They found one restaurant, ordered one meal, and did it every day because that was comfortable and that's all they knew.
Ground ball towards third. Play across to second base, and that'll do it for the Astros. We are through 4. First inning, the Twins have shut down the Astros for a frame.
7-2 over the Twins here in the top of the 5th inning, and you do see Dallas Keuchel back on the mound, pitching extremely well. We talked to A.J. Hinch and what he wanted to see from Dallas Keuchel, and he talked about ground ball percentage. When Dallas is going good, he's going to put the baseball on the ground. And you see on that left-hand column, ground ball percentage very high in 2014, still high again in 2015. It completely fell off in 2016 when he was unable to get the ball down on the ground, and it's been the saving grace of Dallas Keuchel when he does get base runners on. He's able to work down in the zone, get ground balls, and turn into double plays to get him out of innings. But you see a lot of the location down in the zone. That's that comeback sinker on the inside right-handed hitters that keeps them honest, keeps them stood up. But again, when Dallas Keuchel is right, the ball is on the ground, the defense is engaged, which is a beautiful thing. These guys love playing behind Dallas Keuchel when that sinker is down and that changeup is getting rolled over.
Of his 12 outs today, 8 have been via ground balls.
There you go.
He's got 3 strikeouts, and the only other out was a line drive caught by J.D. Davis. So none of the outs have left the infield. And here's a one that's going to flare towards right center and be a base hit. Keuchel looks down on the mound, and we have a special guest standing by with Julia Morales.
Yay, we have Jose Altuve's back. We've missed out on having Altuve around, of course, in the World Baseball Classic, but a good day for you today, a couple of hits and a walk. How do you feel as you work your way back into the Astros spring training?
No, I feel good. I feel really happy to be here with the guys. And, you know, yesterday and today, I took some at-bats. I feel really close to where I want to be for the season.
You're a guy that loves your routine, like to get your swings in. Was it tough leaving this to go over there? I know how much you wanted to play for them, but was it tough making the adjustment going over there and then obviously having to come back and work your way in here?
Oh, yeah, it was. It's kind of like get you out of your routine, but I spent a really good time with my teammates out there, starting with Miguel Cabrera, Carlos Gonzalez, and Martin Prado, Felix Hernandez. I mean, I enjoyed the time with all those guys, and if I have the chance to do it again, I would.
You've talked a lot about just the pride that you have for your country, but it seemed like those games were really fun. Everyone was having a really good time.
Oh, yeah, we were having a lot of fun, but it's like playing playoff games in this early in the season. Double play. 1, 2, got it. So, I mean, really happy that I get to play with those guys, and, you know.
What do you need to do to get yourself prepped now, just a week away from getting on the plane to head back to Houston?
No, just take as many at-bats as possible. I have taken like 10 or 11 at-bats since I got here, so probably 11 more, and I think I should be ready for the season.
I know you had some at-bats in the Classic, but I can imagine you're able to maybe work on some things in these at-bats. Would that be true for you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You know, during the WBC, you don't have the chance to work and to do your routine. You want to get on base, get a hit. It's like playing real games. And, you know, now you come here and you come back to start working to get ready for the season.
Now, I know you said you missed your team. You missed being around these guys, but I can imagine you were in a hurry to get back just so you guys could gel since you are running out of time right before the season.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. No, I miss my guys here, but like I said, I spent good time with my teammates there, and I love those guys, and, you know, I think we all have a good time.
Thanks so much for the time, and get out of here. I know your day is done. Altuve is hungry, as he told me before that one. He's going to go eat now. We'll be back 7-2. Astros leading the Twins.
Astros baseball on Root Sports is presented by the Shell Houston Open, returning for another exciting year on March 30th. Get your tickets now at shellhoustonopen.com. And by Toyota. Let's go places. Couple of lucky fans getting an autograph on the way to the clubhouse. Jose Altuve. He was almost gone, and he turned around and saw one other fan he needed to help out.
This guy, he's unbelievable. I know that, you know, we obviously have a small bias towards the Astros, but I am such a huge Altuve fan, and most of it's because of this. He's always signing autographs. He's incredibly jovial with all the fans. He's throwing wristbands up there. He plays the game so hard, and yet he will come seek us out and have a conversation. It's great stuff. He's fun to be around.
And if the inning wasn't started, he might still be signing autographs.
Good point. He would have.
He had to run off the field because here we go into the bottom half of the 5th inning. As Marwin Gonzalez, I know Marwin's happy to see Altuve back.
Oh, man. Yeah, he's got his buddy back.
Marwin playing left field today, takes a called strike. Did not agree with that call from the home plate umpire. See, Marwin's 1 for 2 with a base hit to left his first time up. Gonzalez, J.D. Davis, Reed Brignac. Astros have picked up 11 hits and 7 runs through 4 innings. Gonzalez wasn't ready for that pitch, and he kind of had Wimmer stop in mid-delivery.
No, the hitter literally stopped the pitcher. I've never seen that before.
There's a swing and a miss, and it's 0-2. That's a lot of respect from Alex Wimmers to Marwin Gonzalez. Wimmers made his big league debut last year with the Twins. First-round draft picked out of Ohio State. 21st overall in the 2010 first-year player draft. 0-2 is ripped foul. Marwin's the guy we're going to see play almost everywhere this year.
Yeah, this will be a little bit different. I know that in 2014, 15, and even last year, you know, he was the utility guy on the roster that was going to bounce all over the place, relieve Correa at shortstop for a day off, relieve Altuve. But he eventually moved into that first base role. But this is probably going to be the year where he is a legitimate utility player. But again, the bat plays well, and if you can find him a hole in the infield, outfield, you're going to do it.
And he does this thing defensively too. He will make the plays, and really that versatility is allowing A.J. Hinch to have 8 guys in the bullpen. When you have a guy that can play multiple positions, as Gonzalez grounds one on the right side, now all of a sudden that frees up your bench because Gonzalez is like almost 2 players.
No, it really does. If you're another position player, you're not upset with Marwin, but you do know that his versatility around the field is what is allowing A.J. Hinch to go out there and make the decision to go with an 8th guy in the bullpen.
So now 1 out, nobody on, and a guy who's having himself a nice spring as well is J.D. Davis. Davis realizes the clock is ticking on his spring with Alex Bregman about to join the Astros after the World Baseball Classic ends tonight. 2 on each side tonight. Carlos Correa, Carlos Beltran for Team Puerto Rico, and Alex Bregman and Luke Gregerson for Team USA for all the marbles.
Yeah, I may have to launch if I'm going to stay up and watch that game tonight.
You may have to launch? Yeah.
Launch, yeah.
Nice.
You get some of that special coffee, man.
9 p.m. start and early calls here in the spring training season.
Yep.
The good news is tomorrow's an off day.
True.
There's a ball in the right field, and that'll fall for a base hit. So J.D. Davis has himself his 2nd hit. He's now 2 for 3. How about Correa? He is just loving the spotlight of this World Baseball Classic.
You know what? I think you pretty much nailed it right there with the spotlight. Carlos Correa is a unique talent. He's a phenomenal talent. He moved over to third base, and for me, looks like a natural third baseman, but he has really enjoyed the big stage this early in spring, stepping up for Puerto Rico. But I'm going to make a call right now that he is going to be in the top 5 of the MVP voting by the end of the season, if not winning it.
I like that.
He's my call.
I like that. Top 5. You heard it here first on March 22nd, 2017. Jeff Blum saying top 5. Here's Reed Brignac. Called strike, 0-1.
I just think last year was such a good learning experience for him. You saw a little bit of the struggles. You saw him battle. He made adjustments. But again, that comfortability and that joy for the spotlight that I'm seeing from him, plus the talent, man.
I like what Jose Altuve said about how all these games feel like playoff games.
It's crazy.
And it's nice to have playoff experience going into a season.
You can use that.
Absolutely. Here's a ball set high in the air on the infield left side. Reed Brignac ends up with a pop-up to third base. And Gregerson has been phenomenal as a closer.
Captain America closing out games for the Team USA.
I mean, his stuff has been filthy.
And it's been an impressive style, too. Sinker-slider combination. We know he's almost a 75% slider-type guy, but again, dangles it out there. As soon as that swing starts, it breaks away from the bat.
As Jim Leyland you saw there as the manager of Team USA, he told Luke, "You're my guy in the 9th inning." There are some impressive arms in that Team USA bullpen. And
there really are.
And Leyland said, "You are my guy," and Luke has showed why he should have faith in him, because he has 3 saves for Team USA. Yesterday was a 7-pitch 9th inning against Japan in a 2-1 victory.
That's saying something, throwing 7 pitches to, you know, what is essentially an all-star lineup from Japan.
So tonight is for all the marbles. We know there will be 2 World Baseball Classic champions coming back to West Palm Beach over the weekend. Probably by Saturday, Sunday, we should have the entire team intact again, and that'll give AJ a chance to play his opening day lineup, if you will, a couple of times.
Oh, he's got to be excited about that.
Hey guys, AJ said this morning that by Saturday they'll all be in the lineup. Friday he's expecting Alex Bregman to be in the lineup. So Nori Aoki was supposed to land in Miami today and head back this way, so we'll see him in the lineup soon as well. But yeah, Saturday's a big day for everyone to see. The lineup looking a lot closer than what it has been to that opening day lineup. We'll see.
Bregman's the one guy they really want to get at bats, right, Julia?
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, he's expressed that to AJ Hinch as well, but you know, AJ's dying to get him here and to get him as many at bats as he can before they break, which is soon, especially for a young player who hasn't been to a lot of big league spring trainings, big league camp. So this is all still very new to him, and so he's got to get those reps in.
There's a ball, nice play by the first baseman Hogg, and that'll do it. George Springer's hit the ball hard 4 times today. He's 2 for 4 with a double and a home run. He took the bat with him down the line, as we now have 5 innings in the books at 7-2.
Orbit, enjoying the afternoon with fans here in West Palm Beach, watching the Astros lead the Twins 7-2. Astros mini plans are on sale now. Pick your games and seat locations with the 15-game flex plan, or come for the giveaways with the 10-game bobblehead series package. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit astros.com/mini plans to get yours today. And we were just talking about the WBC and how the Astros have several guys in there. Alex Bregman is a guy for me who has gotten limited time with Team USA. I understand that Jim Leyland feels he's putting the best team out there, but Arenado last night with 4 punch-outs might open an opportunity for a guy like Alex Bregman to get in there. You see in the minimal time he's been able to get in there, put the bat on the ball, got a couple knocks, got a walk. He's been around the base paths. We know he can play a good defensive third base, but I know that's a concern of the Astros, is that he has not gotten many ABs in preparation for this season.
That's the one drawback when you have a guy like a Bregman who's a young player. trying to break camp for the first time. He will break camp for the first time as the starting third baseman. He's never had that happen before, getting ready for a big league season, and he's just not getting the number of at-bats that the Astros would like. But that's part of it when you know you're going to be over there with a Nolan Arenado at third.
Yes.
You've got quality players on the left side of the infield. Brandon Crawford is at shortstop, and
Murphy at second base.
Yeah, and even Daniel Murphy's not getting much time. Ian Kinsler's been playing a lot.
Yep.
And so, you know, they share this complex with the Nationals. Guy finished second in MVP voting, and he can't get on the field for Team USA. I mean, there are a lot of guys that would like to get back and get some at-bats. But at the same time, the experience they're getting with Team USA is invaluable.
And the respect, too. There's a reason Alex Bregman's on that team. They obviously think highly enough of him as a young player to put him on that roster because there is a future in WBC, and he may be a part of that future. He gets the experience now. So in a couple of years when the WBC comes back, he may be a part of it again and be a major influence.
Gonzalez swinging a miss. James Hoyt, the new pitcher for the Astros, comes on and gets a strikeout. First batter he faces. Hoyt's going back-to-back games for the first time this spring.
Well, bullpen guys are a little bit different than starters. We talked about starters going deep into ball games, throwing 65 to 70 pitches. And the way you go out there and test guys in the bullpen is throw them on back-to-back days and see how they bounce back. It gives the pitcher a good idea of how his arm feels, and it gives the coaching staff a good idea of the stuff after pitching that back-to-back days.
Matt Hogg takes a pitch inside for ball one. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, Arenado is struggling at the plate. That's obvious. Jim Leland knows Marcus Stroman, tonight's starter for the U.S., is a ground ball pitcher. Arenado is as good as it gets at the hot corner. So that could be a reason, as much as Nolan is struggling offensively, to keep him in the lineup. But it would be, Alex went, as you said, 2 for 3 with a walk against Venezuela, the one start he had. And he was at third base, and Venezuela's third baseman was Jose Altuve.
The tallest third base combo ever.
Rougned Odor and Altuve rotated between second and third. Here's Mott Hyde going out for that pop-up, and it falls in front of Josh Reddick for a base hit. So Matt Hogg has his second hit. He's been on base all 3 times.
Tell you what, Mott Hyde has not gotten the easy opportunities out there at second base with a couple of pop-ups over the shoulder type situations. And again, the sun directly behind us, behind home plate. But soft contact that unfortunately falls for a hit.
So Hoyt with a strikeout and now a little bloop single to right will deal with Chris Jimenez. Changes for the Astros defensively. George Springer's day is over. He hit the ball on the button 4 times. Home run, double, line drive, then a sharp hit ground ball to end the 5th. He's left the game. Marwin Gonzalez has shifted from left to center, and Alejandro Garcia is now in left. We told you earlier Jose Altuve left the game for a pinch runner. Mott Hyde's at second base, and Juan Centeno is the new catcher. Brian McCann's day is done. So some guys getting 4 at-bats in Springer's case. Altuve and McCann getting 3 plate appearances today. Altuve 2 for 2 with a walk. McCann 1 for 3 with a single and a run scored. As we play here in the 6th inning. Swinging a high fastball at 94. And it's 2-1 on Jimenez.
It's good velo going back-to-back days.
Well, it'll be interesting. Hoyt's right on the bubble, if you will, to use the NCAA tournament vernacular. He is on the bubble of making this team. There's a pitch that gets away from Centeno, and Hogg moves to second. And one of the keys for James is his ability to get out left-handed hitters, too. They've got to find guys who have the ability, as right-handers, to have success against lefties.
That is very true, and you hate to harp on the idea, but Tony Sipp has not made the adjustment so far early this spring. I know that he is technically right now the only left-hander in that bullpen, but what makes James Hoyt so effective is that split-fingered pitch going away from left-handed hitters.
Here's a high fly ball to left. Garcia drifts back. He is there, makes the catch. Hogg's going to tag and head to third, and he's going to get there ahead of the throw. So 2 outs, a runner on third base, and Hoyt will get a chance against the left-handed hitter in Eduardo Escobar. He struck out Gonzalez, did Hoyt, first batter of the inning, a lefty. And now he's got Escobar.
And even if Tony Sipp figures things out, you can't throw him every day. There's some tough left-handed hitters in the Western Division, so there are going to be some other guys that are going to be called upon to try and go out there and get those left-handed outs. We know Chris Davinsky is definitely going to be the first guy behind Tony Sipp to go out there and get those left-handed hitters, the great fastball, changeup, curveball mix that he has. But if A.J. wants more options, James Hoyt may be that guy.
Called strike to the switch hitting Twins shortstop Eduardo Escobar, 0-1. Astros put up 4 runs in the first, 2 more in the second, 1 in the third, including home runs by George Springer on the first pitch he saw of the game in the bottom of the first to lead things off, and Yuli Gurriel, 3-run home run. Ground ball left side. The Astros had the shift on with 3 on the right side, and that's a base hit for Escobar. And it's now a 7-3 Astros lead as Matt Hogg comes around to score.
Pretty good hitting by Escobar. Just got absolutely blown up by this fastball, but again, with that shift on, 3/4 of the infield on the right side. Even Davis over there all by himself can't cover it all. But not a very well hit ground ball.
Tommy Field, the batter, he grounded into a double play and grounded out. Centeno doing some work on that pitch in the dirt, keeps it in front of him. For Keuchel, 5 innings today, Plummer, and all but 1 out was a ground ball or a strikeout.
That is what we want to see. That is vintage Dallas Keuchel. And the thing with Dallas, too, is he's not afraid to pitch to contact, because when he is down in the zone, he likes using that defense behind him. And that's why I said earlier, when you're playing behind a guy like Dallas Keuchel who appreciates contact and using the defense behind him, you're always on your toes and ready to make plays.
2 double plays turned today by Houston, 1 in the second inning, 1 in the 5th inning, both on ground balls to the shortstop, one that Jose Altuve called as soon as it was hit.
And you can kind of hear the excitement in him. He knows it. He anticipates it. When that ball's on the ground, what does he expect? He expects the double play to be turned.
2 outs, runner on first base, 1-1 the count. And there's a good slider. It's now 1-2. That's the pitch that really allowed James Hoyt to make his way back into professional baseball and up to the big leagues.
Yeah, and that's his strength. His fastball is good. We saw it at 94, but it's his off-speed pitches that kind of separate him and make him a good option here in the big leagues.
Hoyt, 30 years old, who was undrafted out of Division III Centenary College in Shreveport, Louisiana. Pitched indie ball for a couple of seasons. Mexican League for a season. Ended up with the Atlanta Braves organization before being traded in that Evan Gattis deal to come to the Astros. Hoyt made his big league debut last year, August 3rd, against the Toronto Blue Jays. Ended up in 22 games out of the Astros bullpen. And Field still alive at 2-2.
Split-fingered fastball is his put-away pitch. Able to throw that to both right-handers and left-handers, but we've seen the good slider or the hard curveball from James Hoyt to get these right-handed hitters.
Kind of a tweener because he throws it so hard.
Yep. That's a problem. And I found out sitting up here in the booth trying to call what I think that pitch is not normally what the pitcher calls that pitch, and I want to get it right.
Well, we had this discussion the very first time we met this winter about McCullers.
Yes.
Whether it's a power curve or a slider, because it's such a hard curveball.
Mm-hmm. And for a while with Dallas Keuchel, he used to, 2013-14 was more of a curveball and a slider. And then we found out he just calls it a slider. He just throws it at different speeds.
Runner goes with a 3-2 pitch and 2 outs, and that will do it for the Twins. There's that slider or power curve from James Hoyt to end the inning. The Astros lead. We head to the bottom half of the sixth inning from the ballpark of the Palm Beaches. The Astros are celebrating Jeff Bagwell's election into the Hall of Fame all season long. Special 5-game ticket package includes tickets to the Hall of Fame weekend in August and access to exclusive Baggy-themed giveaways. Visit astros.com/mini plans for more info. We talked earlier about Bagwell being in camp, and one of the reasons he was here, in addition to giving out knowledge about his career and how to play the game at first base, was that Yuli Gurriel took a lot of advice from him about switching from third base to first base, as Bagwell did. You look at the guys who played first base since 2013.
I have, and it's been pretty ugly for the most part. There are some guys with limited success. Chris Carter, obviously, with the power, is going to get over there. John Singleton's had his opportunities. Marwin Gonzalez has been forced into that situation, but there are a lot of names that have been thrown over there. And the production-wise, first base has not been the spot where the Astros have gone to for that production. If it wasn't for Marwin Gonzalez, a lot of these numbers would be much lower than they are. And just in 2016, you see 232, the batting average, the on-base percentage below 300, which is amazing. And the sub-400 slugging it's just, that doesn't do your ball club any good. You want guys that can go out there and obviously catch the baseball and help you get outs on defense, but the offense production needs to go up. I believe Yuli will be that guy.
We were talking about that earlier. It's a new position for him, but he's a guy that really looks like he could be very productive. Maybe not a 20, 25 home run guy, but maybe 15.
Yeah.
With a lot of doubles.
I completely agree. I would classify him as that true doubles type guy. We saw some of the opposite field power today. But I think if he stays up the middle and just watching his approach, if he stays up the middle, he's going to have plenty of RBI situations. It's crazy to think that he might be in the bottom third of this Astros lineup because he is such a good hitter. But the opportunities that the guys being on base ahead of him are going to create is going to be awesome, because that pure hitter with runners in scoring position is going to lead to some RBIs.
Ground ball off the bat of Josh Reddick. And he's retired for the first out here in the sixth inning.
But I agree. If Yuli Gurriel is a 275, 10 to 15 home run, and 60 to 75 RBI guy, that is a bonus to this lineup.
And play solid defense.
Yes.
That's a nice first base. If that is, in fact, what does happen for the Astros. And then you add the production behind the plate.
Yeah.
You've got McCann and Gaddis.
Really good point.
And you've got the two studs up the middle. We've talked about them. You've got Springer in center. You know, Reddick, we've talked about. He's proven himself and struggling a little bit this spring, but he's proven himself in this years with the Oakland A's. Norioki is a guy who makes a lot of contact and will get on base. The former Mariner, and of course Bregman. You don't see a lot of weak spots in that lineup anywhere.
No, and that was the real problem, I think, last year for A.J. Hinch's lineup, is he stacked the first 5, maybe sometimes 6 spots in that lineup, and teams weren't afraid to pitch around the guys that were in that 4, 5, 6 spot, put them on base, and literally load the bases almost, and then just run right through that bottom third of the lineup.
Mott Hyde's going to get on base with a little chopper off the plate, as Michael Tonkin made the play, but then had no chance to throw out Hyde. So in his first at bat after pinch running for Jose Altuve, he has himself an infield hit. Mott Hyde, we were talking about him before the game today. From Georgia Tech, 5'10", 190-pounder. Just turned 25 earlier during the spring. Here's Juan Centeno. And the pitch misses, ball 1. Centeno taking over for Brian McCann, getting his first at bat. He's done a nice job for the Astros this spring. All of a sudden, you look at the catching depth. Stassi's down there now, and Juan Centeno. We heard A.J. Hinch before the game talk about maybe splitting some time with these two guys at the AAA level. And you hope McCann and Gaddis stay healthy, but if you ever need a third catcher for whatever reason and you feel comfortable with carrying 3 that free up, you know, your ability to pinch run for a guy late in the game, you know, there's some options down there at AAA that can step in, and Centeno's a really solid defensive catcher. Called strike, it's 1-1.
And I think when you do say backup catcher, that's what you want, is to have that defensive type guy that's not going to hurt you in the running game. He's going to work well with the pitchers, and he's going to get down and block that baseball and keep that ball in front of him.
And he has done that. We saw him in an earlier telecast throw a ball from his knees.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That was a BB to second base. This guy can definitely help protect the running game for the opposition. 2-1 the count on Centeno. Had his career high last year in games played and at bats for these Minnesota Twins. Going up against his former team, 55 games and 176 at bats last year for the Twins. Hit 3 home runs. And 1 triple. We mentioned Gaddis with those 11 triples a few years ago. The 1 triple came against the Astros. It was a ball that was lost in kind of the twilight at Target Field.
Oh, that was him?
That was a ball to center field.
Oh.
Carlos Gomez did not quite see it. It kind of landed in between him and the track, and Centeno ended up with a triple on that play.
That was brutal. I remember that.
Do you remember that?
That was brutal.
That was Centeno's one and only triple.
Need a little help.
There's a called strike. Yeah, he's not going to leg out a lot of triples, I don't think, but like we
said that about Gaddis, and he proved us wrong 11 times.
11 times.
It's funny, you talked to Evan about it. He said, that's got to stop. I'm exhausted. That's got to stop.
And it kept going, like we said. He got to 6, 7, 8, and it kept going all the way to double digits. Tonkin with the play off the mound, and he'll make the play to first. Mott Hyde moves to second. And now John Kemmer is going to get an at-bat. So Yuli Gurriel's day ends 2 for 3 with a home run and a double. Gurriel's now 4 for his last 5 with 2 home runs and 2 doubles. Gurriel a big day. Altuve a nice day. On base all 3 times. You heard Jose say he's starting to feel the timing coming back. And that's a good sign.
That is a good sign. And I love that he just comes right back, grinds it out, gets those ABs. He's just one of the few guys that you can see how he feels in the way he reacts to pitches, the way he fouls them off, the way he almost warms up outside the batter's box. But when he came back from the WBC, those first couple at bats, you could tell he was a little uncomfortable and wanted to get in there. And he knows for him, seeing more pitches is better. Much like we heard Nolan Ryan earlier talking about, he wanted to crank out as many innings as he could in spring training because he felt better after he got more reps in.
John Kemmer, pinch hitter, hitting on the spring, 292. There's a ball in the left field. It's falling for a hit. Around third comes Mott Hyde, and Kemmer has himself an RBI. The throw's cut off. Kemmer's going to be the last out of the inning if they execute the rundown play, and he's out at first base. Almost got all the way back. But Kemmer ends the inning with an RBI hit, and the Astros increase their lead. It's now 8-3 at the end of 6 innings.
Twins 3. We move to the top of the 7th in West Palm Beach. Every Wednesday night home game is $1 hot dog night. Enjoy the Astros while annihilating all the dollar dogs you can eat. For more info, visit astros.com/$dogs or call 1-877-9-ASTROS. Of course, they make me read that one.
You didn't ad-lib that?
Okay, I'm going to totally switch gears here. But, you know, A.J. Hinch, skipper, met with his team before spring training when everyone reported. Obviously, a big message that he gave there. But for the guys who are coming back, you know, there was another really important team meeting that was held at the end of last year. And I know Blummer certainly remembers we headed into Anaheim for the very last series of the year in 2016. And this team's fate had been decided. They were not going to the playoffs. So they were going to play the first meaningless games, I should say, for the first time in those 2 seasons total. So, you know, it was really tough for them mentally, just trying to go out there and give it all they have, knowing that the season was almost over, knowing that at that point it didn't really mean much to where they were going to be headed as far as the offseason goes. But A.J. Hinch made sure to sit down everyone and give a good speech that day on just, you know, if you guys are committed to this, everyone's good at this level. You have to be willing to take that extra step, to put in the extra work. And it's something that stuck with a lot of players, and they told me about it as we came into spring training and had some interviews. They remember that. They remember that message. You know, we're all really good. How do we come together? What does it take to not get complacent and to take it to that next level and to gel or whatever it is we need to do to get back into the postseason? And so, you know, for guys like Carlos Correa, who only knew playoffs in his first year, his first taste of the big leagues, and it was so disappointing. AJ was just trying to get a good message across to some of the younger guys who would eventually be leaders on this team, and that they could take with them. And Blummer, you probably know much more on how players can receive that message and what they can take from that.
Yeah, it was a good story, and I know it's tough as a manager to encourage these guys after you have such high expectations. But we know the month of April was extremely hard, so he had to fight through that, get these guys fired up and energized. They made a very strong push from May through mid-September, but it just didn't work out because other teams took care of their business. But when you fall that close, that short, to finish out the season strong is hard to do, and I think AJ understands and has a great mentality of what these guys are going through, had a good message for them, but encouraging these guys and making them understand that we may not have finished the way we wanted, but we are all coming back. We are going to make adjustments, and we are going to come into spring again with high expectations, and we are going to play with the experience that we have from the previous season going into this 2017 season. So they should be a little bit stronger, and they have an understanding on how to adjust with the adversity that confronted them last year. And Julia talked about the comfortability of a Gurriel. He's got 1 year under his belt. Ken Giles is a guy out here right now who should be a little bit more comfortable in an Astros uniform moving forward. But these guys, I think, are finding comfort in that expectation of going out there and playing hard. And they expect it of each other when they go out there. I think it's great.
Giles struggling to find the strike zone, has missed on the first 6 pitches. There's a strike, and it's 2-1. Well, you talk about 2015, and obviously you guys lived it, but watching it from afar, what a great story it was to make the wild card after all those years of struggles, and you knew you were building something that was going to last for a while. But then you compare it and juxtapose it with last year, and because of the 7-17 start and the struggle all the way through May, 17-28 after 45 games, and then to come all the way back, they actually finished 2 games worse last year than they did the year before, and
That's crazy.
They feel like miles apart, the 2 seasons.
That's a really good point, is that the 86 wins felt like 76 wins compared to 2015 because they didn't get into the playoffs. What's interesting about 2015 and 16, and maybe more talking about 2016, is Lance McCullers is yet to pitch in April. And they pushed him back a little bit last year because of maybe a shoulder or elbow injury in April. But there seems to be a little more emphasis on getting these guys healthy for April, because they know that if you struggle in April, you could lose your season in April. And having Lance McCullers in April in your rotation, and not to mention a Charlie Morton who's blown the doors off all of our expectations here in spring, if you have him healthy in April, those are 2 pretty solid pitchers in depth.
Well, you talked about it right out of the gates when we were discussing Colin McHugh, and that was during the pregame show with Bart and Mike, is that even though Colin McHugh hasn't thrown a spring training game for the Astros, the guys that have all been outstanding.
They have really made their presence felt.
And you almost feel like, all right, let's hope Colin's ready. It probably won't be the first series. AJ has said it probably won't be that first series against Seattle, but let's hope he's ready shortly thereafter, whether it's the Kansas City series or shortly thereafter. Whatever happens, these 5 guys, Blummer, have answered the bell this spring.
Yeah, they really have. We know that Fires might be the odd man out if McHugh's in that rotation and push him into that bullpen, because Joe Musgrove sprung onto the scene last year, did a great job. But Charlie Morton signing that two-year deal, and with the injuries, there was a lot of question marks, but his velocity is up. He's getting a lot of strikeouts. And Colin McHugh, pitching on that backfield is great, but he is yet to pitch in a big league ball game here in spring training. And I think when you hear AJ in some of the interviews that he does have, he has a little bit of concern that Colin has not pitched on this mound here on the main stadium field. It sounds a little weird, you know, because he's getting his work in back there. He's building back up. But again, pitching here on this stadium, even in spring training, is a little bit different. And those 5 guys that we've seen up there, the Keuchel and McCullers are shoe-in. But the other 3 guys coming into spring training with the expectation of battling for a spot stepped up and did a great job.
Fires yesterday as Giles delivers a 3-1 pitch on the outside corner. Fires yesterday hadn't pitched in a major league spring training game in about 16 days, a little more than 2 weeks, because he had been dealing with a little tweak in the hamstring. He had pitched on the backfield, but then he got back out there against the Marlins and went 4 innings of 3-hit shutout baseball and struck out 5. That was really good to see his performance yesterday, and he said afterwards he felt great.
That was a good sign.
Really good sign. And all those guys, and even Keuchel today gave up a couple of runs, but got the ground balls. We mentioned not 1 out recorded in the outfield today.
That's what you want to see. You have different expectations for different guys, and you can kind of read between the lines when you're hearing these interviews from AJ Hinch. You know, we want to see him on the big field. We want to see him doing his thing out here. And you heard it with Dallas Keuchel. He liked that he saw him pitch under stress. It doesn't sound like much because it's spring training, but again, you've got to pitch in that stressful situation with runners in scoring position. How do you go out there and get those outs? And to your point with the ground balls, Dallas Keuchel didn't panic, kept the ball down, got his ground balls, and got a couple double plays to get him out of situations.
Lance McCullers pitched 2 perfect innings against the Cardinals his first outing back on March 9th. He threw like 24, 25 pitches. Next outing, he had to really battle against the Mets. 3 innings, he had runners on, ended up giving a 2-out home run up to Yoenis Cespedes. Those were the only 2 runs he allowed that day. He said he got so much more out of that outing because he really had to work and make pitches than he did as dominant as he was in that first outing against the Cardinals.
And Lance is unique, too. His spring's a little bit different. He's given up the most earned runs of all those pitchers, but he is also working a lot harder on getting that changeup into his repertoire.
That pitch that Cespedes hit was a 3-1 changeup that wasn't in the best location, and that's what happens when good hitters get good pitches to hit.
And baseball is a game where you learn from your mistakes. I mean, you don't want to dwell on them, but you want to learn from them.
And I think one thing, here's the 0-1 pitch from Giles that A.J. Hinch and Brent Strom are looking forward to seeing is, will that changeup play in the regular season? Because Lance is such a great breaking ball and the fastball. And those 2 have played by themselves without a great changeup. If you can add that 3rd pitch like he has in spring, keep that into when the bell rings, that's huge.
Yes, that 3rd pitch in the mix is very nice.
After a little struggle at the start with the strike zone, Ken Giles ends up getting through the 7th inning. Close play there and a nice play by J.D. Davis for the final out. 8-3 Astros. We head to the bottom half of the 7th inning. Orbit entertaining the crowd here in the 7th inning stretch. On Callis alongside Jeff Blum, Julian Morales. Plummer, you talked about the Aprils, and there you see the big difference in the last 2 seasons.
It's just remarkable how much of an impact that actually had on it. You can see we harp on the pitching staff a lot. We know Lance McCullers wasn't in that rotation, so that starter ERA was elevated. Reliever ERA at 4.75. We know Ken Giles had his struggles early on as an Astro, but again, with the run scoring underneath 4 runs a game, that's not helping anybody. So it was both aspects of the game. Really got off to a slow start, and you can see how it paid off in the end with those 2 less wins in 2016.
So hoping for better things to start this year. The year will start in 12 days. Monday, April 3rd. We've been telling you about it, the home opener. Brand new additions to center field at Minute Maid Park. And we will have the first of our Root Sports telecast with a special 1-hour pregame show beginning at 6 o'clock. Mariners are in town 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Kansas City in town over the weekend, 7th, 8th, and 9th. And then we are off and racing as the Astros about to embark on what could be a very exciting 2017 campaign. There's so much anticipation about this team, and especially the offense. And I like the fact that A.J. Hinch and the players have embraced the high expectations.
Yeah. Well, why else do you play? You play to win championships, and that's what these guys have an opportunity to do. And the joy of 2015, the disappointment of 2016, what that does for them hopefully in 2017 is leave that taste in their mouth where they're hungry for it and they want to go get it. Because they know how to turn it on, and we know they can win ball games. They've made some quality additions. After that April that we saw where they went 7-17, May 24th to July 24th, they went 37-16. That is a dominant ball club, and they've actually made additions and made that ball club better. So it should be, I agree, a very good year for these guys to go out there and have some fun.
Evan Gattis hanging in there with a 2-2 count. The count's now full. Gattis getting a chance at a 4th at bat as a designated hitter today. Single and 3 at bats thus far. Over the mound to the second baseman, and that's the first out of the inning. Play made by Levi Michael, taking over at second. Michael's now at second base. Reynaldo Rodriguez is at first base. Edgar Corsino is in right. Still a few starters in there for the Minnesota Twins. Avery Adrianza has moved over to shortstop. Chase McDonald getting at bat. Has not had a spring training at bat to this point. Taking over at first base. Down on the count, 0-2. Ball in the dirt, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Chase has already got the big league beard going.
He does. It's a real solid spring training beard right there.
If he chops down trees in the offseason with Evan Gattis.
McDonald last year, 109 games with the Corpus Christi Hooks. 12th round pick out of East Carolina in the June 2013 draft.
Plays third in wood chopping in the Lumberjack games.
He and Gattis on the wintertime doing a little Lumberjack tour.
Man.
Big boy up there. 6'2", 279. At least that's what it says in the media guide.
Some numbers that just jump at you, don't they?
We saw Aaron Judge, who's listed at 282 at 6'7".
We may have found somebody that can match up with him. Maybe not in the height department.
I'm not sure he looks 279, though.
Yeah, he doesn't.
I would say he's 240-ish. There's ball 4 outside. Oh, Chase McDonald draws a 1-out walk after getting down on the count, 0-2. Good patience shown by the young first baseman. Here's J.D. Davis, only player for the Astros that's played the entire game to this point.
You know, everybody talks about the Oakland A's being a patient farm system and really teaching these guys to take pitches on their way up to the big leagues, and it transfers there. The Astros are teaching their guys to be very selective in the strike zone.
Is it my imagination, or has J.D. Davis had a good game every time we went on television this spring?
Yes, he is a very good ball player when the TV cameras are rolling. We have seen him not getting cheap hits either. He's hitting line drives all over the ballpark.
I mean, I looked at his average before the game and it said 294. I'm like, who's getting him out? Because I think he's hitting about he's hitting about 800 in our telecast this spring. JD's been impressive. Another base hit there. Base hit to left, to right, and to center today of his 3 hits.
Equal opportunity guy.
Here's Jack Mayfield.
Super Jack.
Takes a called strike, 0-1. Mayfield's first at bat, taking over for Reed Brignac. Reed had an RBI double in 3 at bats. In the air, right side, tough play, and Rodriguez makes it for the second out and throws it all the way in to make sure the runners don't advance. So 2 outs, 2 on. And we go to the top of the order where Alejandro Garcia will get his first at bat. Twins started with Phil Hughes going 2 innings. Astros put up 6 runs against the right-hander. Nick Anderson pitched the 3rd. Andrew Wimmers the 4th. Michael Tonkin in his 2nd inning of work. 4th and 5th for Wimmers. Astros have used Dallas Keuchel for 5. James Hoyt pitched an inning, and then Ken Giles the 7th. Speaking of guys who have had a good spring, Alejandro Garcia carries a .346 batting average to the plate. He's had a chance to play a little bit this spring. 9 hits in 26 at bats.
Mashed potatoes.
Line drive to the crowd.
Ooh, man,
that is a scary thing. Again, we talked in previous spring telecasts about the net being extended in most stadiums around baseball.
Yeah, they do have the net here, but it only goes part way down that dugout. You can see it stops about halfway through, and that one snuck up into the stands at Minute Maid Park. They are going to extend it, I believe, to the end of that dugout to give the fans a little more protection from shots into the stands like that one off the bat of Garcia. You can see the front row down there at the ballpark of the Palm Beaches. They've got some safety precautions in there. And again, those nets can be moved during batting practice to allow fans to interact with the players too, which is nice.
Nice diving stop on the sharp ground ball by Garcia, and the play across in time for the final out. Ari Adrianza makes the play, and that'll do it for the Astros. We are heading to the 8th, 8-3. Root Sports is presented by Advocare. We build champions. 8th inning baseball from the ballpark of the Palm Beaches. Beautiful afternoon here in Palm Beach County. Todd Callis, Jeff Blum, Julia Morales, and the gentleman who is taking over the 8th inning, at least joining us in the booth, Brownie. Hey. Phil Brown, how are you?
Doing great. Todd and Blummer and Julia, hey, it's good to be with you guys, and I know you're doing an outstanding job this spring. This is fun to watch.
You have you've made your way over from the radio booth, so we appreciate you coming back to your roots en route. This is where you belong. I mean, we're glad you're up here. How's it been working at some games this spring?
It's been so much fun coming back, and well, for you guys, you enjoy this new venue, right?
Oh, absolutely. Are you kidding me? This is beautiful.
Don't move out of the shot.
I'm already. They don't even let me in the shot. It's all about Brownie right now.
Where is it? You have to be on camera if you're going to talk.
This is passing of the torch right here. This is where it's at.
Well, I am so pleased to welcome Todd, of course.
We all are, yes.
Yeah, it's going to be a great year for you guys.
It will be. Fantastic. How are you doing? How are you enjoying spring?
Loving it.
Yep.
The whole deal. You know, the team, the venue, it's cooler here, everything.
Yeah, and you got to talk to Nolan on the broadcast a little bit today, huh?
And you guys, yeah, I know you enjoyed it as much as we did.
We kept him for an extra inning.
That's okay. we're going to be there for him whenever he gets finished, and he was really good.
Yeah, I mean, you obviously are enjoying the transition. You've had a chance to see the facilities. You were out in the backfield today. Your thoughts about the new West Palm Beach, ballpark of the Palm Beach?
Man, it's just spectacular. I don't know what could be improved upon, right? Have you seen anything like this?
It's pretty impressive. I've never seen a facility where two teams share it like this. And the Nationals, you don't see them unless you play them.
It's crazy.
I've not seen one national player other than when, they were in this stadium playing the Astros.
We are into the 8th inning. Michael Feliz on the mound. We are thrilled to have Bill Brown join us here in the broadcast booth. So, Brownie, I know you're going to be around Minute Maid Park a lot this season, and we want you to stop in the booth whenever you want. But also, in addition to that, tell the fans what's going to keep you busy in 2017.
A variety of things, really, kind of on a part-time basis, and so that a lot of it's yet to be worked out. But we have Jeff Bagwell weekend, you know about that?
Yes.
In August, so there's going to be an on-field ceremony, and I'm pleased to be a part of that, doing some emceeing there. And
will you get a chance to go to Cooperstown? Have you figured that out yet?
I'm available if asked.
You've got to be going.
Yeah,
we went for the Biggio induction. That was fantastic.
I would just assume the fact that you're going to be somewhere in the vicinity of Jeff Bagwell's induction.
Well, it was just so gratifying to see all the Astros fans that came up and wore the colors.
Yeah, when you hosted that little pep rally at Union Station, that was a pretty incredible turnout for that.
Wasn't it?
Yes, I was thoroughly impressed.
Little flare by Rodriguez, falls in front of Kemmer for a base hit with 1 out.
Well, it was good to see you at that thing, and you know, Lance and all the guys who were his teammates, and just thinking about now, well, we had one Hall of Famer in Biggio. Now two sounds a lot better, doesn't it?
It does. It's incredible. I mean, we were actually talking about that after Nolan left our booth, is the string of legends that the Astros have availability to for these young guys to use them. But you've called a lot of their games. Is there any moment that sticks out for you about Jeff Bagwell, considering this is his year?
Yeah, that's a question I've been hearing, and I'm really
so many
trying to come to grips with how to answer that. And I don't, you know, he had some 3 home run games, you know, but I think more than anything, and you played with him, it was just his consistency, Todd. I mean, he didn't have too many bad weeks. He was just so consistent.
Do you remember that 94 year, the strike year, where he was absolutely lighting it up until he got hit in the hand?
Yes. And, you know, I was thinking back to one particular game that year. And I wanted to see, okay, there was this game, and it's the biggest comeback in Astros history. And they trailed the Cardinals, I think it was 9-0. And they came back and they won the game. And I thought, well, you know, people are asking me, is there any one game for Bagwell? And I don't have one because there were so many. But I look back at that, well, maybe he, you know, in this great comeback, maybe he drove in 7 runs. I know he didn't drive in 8 because J.R. Tolles did that for the club record, right?
Yep.
But I look back, and, you know, Jeff had, I don't know, 3 RBIs in that game. And how many times did he do that?
He did that day in, day out.
So that's the story of Jeff Bagwell. How many times did he drive in 3?
Yeah, just like a metronome, just day in, day out. He would be consistent. Well, I love the fact that you are still going to be a big part of the Astros organization. I also love the fact not many guys go out on top, and you did it when you were still on top, and you are probably now enjoying being a fan of baseball and enjoying life more than you're going to get a chance to do some things this summer you haven't had a chance to do your whole life.
Right, with a variety of things, and maybe, you know, write an article for the program here and there. So just different things that I'm going to enjoy, and being with groups that might come to the ballpark. So yeah, and seeing you guys.
Of course, you better stop by. If you don't stop by, I'm going to take that personally, because I am grateful for you putting up with me for the last 4 years, and actually, you know, you do have a lot to do with why I am still sitting in this booth today, because you were so kind to me and offering up so much advice on how to call a baseball game. I know I can get a little goofy at times, but you were right there alongside me, and we're very professional about how you went about your business.
Well, don't change, because the sense of humor is welcome, right, Todd?
Absolutely, we need that, especially any time of the year. But it's a long season if there's no sense of humor.
Yeah. Now, Todd, tell me how you're enjoying things, making the transition. You obviously have known the American League really well, 19 years with Tampa Bay, but different perspective, back to where you were born.
Back to the original hometown. Yeah, back to my birth city, which is pretty cool. And the fact that Dad's first major league job was with the Astros back in the 60s. It's great to be here with this organization. I'm very lucky and fortunate to, you know, have been able to move into this chair that you held so brilliantly for 30 years. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I have already, with Jeff and Julia and our crew in the truck that you worked with all these years, really developed a great relationship, and I can't wait to see how it blossoms.
Do we have that picture of Todd when he was?
Oh, we've got that saved for special occasions.
Okay, good.
The Astros uniform picture?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, it was prevalent on Ray's broadcast whenever we went to Houston. So I'm sure it'll make its way out again. But yeah, it's great. I'm looking forward to becoming a Houstonian. I know you have been a big part of my transition, and I thank you for all your help with that behind the scenes as well. So
that's easy.
A week from, I guess, once our last broadcast, Monday. So
yeah,
on Tuesday, I'll be driving to Houston from Tampa, Florida, and looking forward to making that 14.5-hour drive and calling Houston home permanently. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And Michelle's going to be with you?
Michelle will come with me, my fiance. Yeah, she's been a big part of the transition too. Julia, Brownie's up in the booth. You a little jealous?
I am a little jealous. No, you know, I've been seeing Brownie out and about. He's been working. He's been in the clubhouse getting interviews. How's that going, Brownie?
Yeah, it was different, and you do this every day, but waiting for Colin McHugh, you know, he worked out after his outing today, so I was down with the two beat writers who were there, you know, and we were waiting for Colin, and I hadn't done that in a long time.
Yeah, it's going full circle.
It was fun. Yeah, interview him on tape and get that tape to the radio engineer, producer, Matt Bolts. Yeah, back to the old days, but that's fun. Anytime you do something you haven't done for a long time, it just puts a little different tint to the day. You know?
Yeah, different energy. What did Colin say? Anything interesting?
Yeah, he said that his fastball command wasn't very good, but he was pretty pleased, and he said, let's wait a couple days, see how the shoulder feels. He said, hey, they have 5 starters ready to go.
Are we allowed to keep you for another half inning? Oh, we're going to continue this inning, so we're all right.
Oh, shucks. We were supposed to end that inning there.
How long has Robert Ford loaned you to us?
He's easy to get along with. Yeah.
Okay, well, there's a run scored against Phillies. He hasn't had the best necessarily fielding behind him this inning. It's been a couple of choppers that have scored a run, but Phillies, like James Hoyt, you saw yesterday in Jupiter, and then back-to-back days. That's important for a reliever in spring training.
Excellent point. It has to be done at some point just to get ready for that type of thing, although he could pitch 2 innings, as you know, and that would mean a day off probably the next day, but that's one of the big assets he brings to that bullpen, he and Devo, Chris Dubinsky.
In the air to shallow left. This should be the end of the inning. So, Brownie, we can keep you one more half?
Okay, let's do it.
All right, let's talk about the Astros' chances in 2017. Bill Brown will join us in the bottom half of the 8th inning and his thoughts about the postseason possibilities. Astros lead. Drew Rosinski is the new pitcher for the Minnesota Twins. Bill Brown has joined us in the broadcast booth for the 8th inning. And Brownie, not only did you go out on top, you went out during a stretch where the Astros are a pretty darn good baseball team. You have handed over the baton at a good time. I mean, what are your thoughts about this 2017 squad?
You are in a good chair, pal. You're going to have a good time these next few years. Yeah, it's the whole organization. And we were all watching Colin McHugh pitch that minor league game.
Yep.
You can see the depth in the organization, Todd. And you can see what's coming. And what's here is really good. But what's coming is also excellent.
I mean, we saw Francis Martes pitch in that game, and his arm's electric. This is a team, we already saw the cuts the other day. Tyler White, Teoscar Hernandez, Colin Moran, AJ Reed was sent down. Those are 4 guys that may contribute this year at the big league level, and they're going to be guys that maybe would have made the team a couple of years ago.
Yeah, we were talking about it seems to be early. I'm sure some people say, well, why do you do it so early? Because those guys all had major league time. Well, you do it because the roster is deep, and they're not going to make the opening day roster. But also, now you're looking at guys who are in the next wave. You know what those 4 guys can do because you saw them last year, but you might want to see a little bit more of the next wave. And that's what we're looking at. And I think it's primarily due to the WBC that things are happening the way they are.
Speaking of WBC, big game tonight. U.S. Puerto Rico for all the marbles, 9 o'clock start. Carlos Correa, Carlos Beltran.
Here's another guy I love watching.
Derek Fisher?
Yeah. Okay, back to the question.
Now let's watch Fisher.
No, we need to get an answer for this because we're all 3 in a hotel that does not carry the game. We need to find a place to watch it. This is one of the must-see TV games.
This is. Yeah, how good has Gregerson looked? Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
He is.
I haven't been able to see him because my hotel room doesn't have the games.
Drew Rosinski hits Derek
My excuse is I can't stay up.
Well, that too.
So, Brownie, yeah, when you look at the squad, I mean, the depth is there. It should be an offense that scores a lot of runs. What are your thoughts about the prospects of a 2017 postseason and maybe a long run into October?
Very strong. Very strong.
On the ground, Mott Hyde. They're going to turn a double play. 2 outs.
We were talking on radio about avoiding the type of April the Astros had last year. And because in 2015 they had a really good April. And it's only 1/6 of the season, Todd, but it's a very important 1/6 of the season. And quite often, teams that have outstandingly good records in April do go to the playoffs.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, it was amazing. They were one of the best teams in baseball from that mid-May point till the end of the season, but it was just they lost it too early. What a lot of people don't know is that Bill Brown is an excellent photographer, and he has a tendency to send some great pictures. I'm curious, what trips you got planned now that you have a whole summer?
We went to Big Bend National Park. Have you ever been there?
No.
Oh, spectacular place. And there will be an Alaska trip in August.
Oh, that'll be good.
Awesome. You've never been able to do something like that.
No.
Because Alaska's a place you want to visit during baseball season.
You have to be in there this summer to really enjoy yourself.
Yes.
Unless you're an Eskimo.
So would that be a cruise involved with
Yeah, there's a cruise involved in that one.
Yeah, very nice.
That's going to be a great trip.
I still expect the emails and the texted pictures. I look forward to those. Those are good.
You'll get them. That's going to be a nature trip.
Good salmon.
Oh, yeah.
0-2 pitch to Juan Centeno is outside 1-2. So that's great. So you could do some travel. You'll still be at Minute Maid Park a bunch.
Yeah, hanging out with you guys.
Yeah. I wanted you to take a picture, since you're such a good photographer, of Blummer's socks at some point this summer.
What
Yeah, I
socks?
nailed it
He's
today,
wearing
man.
them today. Yeah, those are nice.
I found these back in H-Town, and I couldn't help it. I'll save those for the regular season. We can actually get a good shot of them. But
beautiful.
Yeah, they were kind of in honor of having Nolan Ryan up here. They got that rainbow look to them and the Astros logo on them. But
yeah, we will save
I'm
that
a team player.
I love it.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Well, Brownie got the matching shoes last year, didn't you? There was a shoe going around that had like the rainbow on the heel of it. They were gorgeous.
Should I break them out?
You of all people could break them out and make them look good.
Thank you, guys.
Brownie, thank you, buddy.
Great to see you, Todd.
So great to see you.
All the best to you, my friend.
Appreciate you.
You'll do great.
We're looking forward to seeing you again in the regular season. Bill Brown joining us in the 8th. 8-4. Astros trying to close things out against the Minnesota Twins on this Wednesday afternoon. 15 hits for the Astros. Many of those came early in the game. Astros had 11 hits through 3 innings and have really never looked back after that early 6-0 lead. And they will turn to Diaz to try and finish things out here in the 9th inning. Diaz takes over for Michael Feliz. James Hoyt and Ken Giles also pitching an inning today. There you see Dion last year with the Cincinnati Reds.
Veteran right arm, seeing a good fastball, slider from Diaz, but he's here to close this ball game out after a pretty nice offensive afternoon for the Houston Astros. It was a lot of fun to see them swinging the sticks.
Tanner English, first batter he will face, getting his first at bat of the day. Grounds one foul past the new third baseman. Trent Woodward comes on after J.D. Davis's last at bat. So Astros trying to win today after a lot of offense. They have won a lot of one-run games lately. They beat Miami yesterday 2-1. Their previous wins were a couple of 5-4 wins against Atlanta and Washington. Today a little more breathing room, at least going into the 9th at 8-4. Great to have Brownie with us.
You could tell he was in high spirits. It was great to see him in here.
Bill Brown hopefully will take up our offer as many times as he wants to jump into the booth during the regular season. We hope he will, and we hope as fans you'll get a chance to interact with Brownie a little, which you've never had a chance to for all those years at Minute Maid Park.
What an ambassador of baseball. What an ambassador of Astro baseball, I should say, because now he can officially be the fan that I'm sure he always has been internally.
That'll be great. It'll be great to have Brownie around our booth and great to have him around the stadium. 1-2 pitch just misses. English thought he was heading to the dugout.
We all thought he was going to the dugout. Well, slider backs up, locks up English, but looked like caught that inside corner of the plate.
I think it locked up the umpire too.
That is probably spot on.
Instead, it's a ground ball that takes a bad hop past the third baseman Woodward in the left field. Figures the kid Trent Woodward just gets into his first spring training game, and the first ground ball he gets takes a bad hop over his shoulder.
Late in these spring training games, they are nice fields, but by mid-afternoon they've been chewed up from guys running around. It dries out, and sometimes you get some crazy hops like that, but that one looked like it caught the lip. Not the third baseman Woodward's fault. But extra life for the hitter. Got that called third strike, which should have been for English.
Yeah, it looked like he got an extra strike to work with. Instead, it's a runner on first, and the batter is Ari Adrianza. He has gone the whole way today. Started at second base, moved over to third. Day off tomorrow for the Houston Astros, and they will go the rest of the way without a day off, including a game in West Palm Beach to wrap up the Grapefruit League on Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday the 29th of March, then a flight to Houston and a game the very next night against the defending world champion Chicago Cubs at Minute Maid Park.
We get to call that one too.
Yeah.
That'll be nice.
We will be there. We will be there for our final of 10 spring training telecasts. And then we do it all for real on April 3rd. Diaz misses 3-0. Dion pitched in the World Baseball Classic for his native Colombia, pitched a couple of shutout innings, including a save in their lone win against Canada. Also pitched a shutout inning against the Dominican Republic, which is never easy to do. Ball 4, 4-pitch walk. Now the tying run's on deck. I think a lot of people were surprised that the Dominican did not reach the Final Four. But Team Puerto Rico is back there. They were in the last championship game when the DR beat them in 2013. And back in there again in the finals against Team USA, the furthest the U.S. squad has ever reached in the 4 World Baseball Classics. It will be Marcus Stroman on the mound today for Toronto, or for the U.S. from Toronto.
Do you imagine if Puerto Rico somehow becomes a state the 51st, and then all of it. What do you do? I mean, what does that ball club look like?
With
do
U.S. and Puerto
do you
Rico
incorporate them into Team USA and just give them the trophy every year? I mean, oh my gosh, they'd have to have tryouts or something. You'd have the best of the best.
It's already tough enough with Lindor and Correa as your shortstops.
That's almost hilarious to think about. They may not make a mistake just because they don't want that complication in the WBC.
Your second baseman would be Murphy, Altuve, and Kinsler. Yeah, it would be ridiculous.
What are we going to do here?
It would be ridiculous. There's a called strike. A.J. Murray getting it at bat. Astros do have bullpen action up if Diaz ends up with a high pitch count this inning. And there's a 3-pitch strikeout. So Diaz, after allowing a bad hop base hit and a walk, picks up a strikeout. Out number 1 here in the 9th inning.
Diaz, thoroughly annoyed with himself, took it out on Murray. It was a filthy. The bottom dropped out of that slider.
Seth Lugo will get the start today for Puerto Rico against the U.S. Here is Levi Michael. Fastball called strike, 0-1. Mentioned Astros day off tomorrow, then playing in Port St. Lucie against the Mets on Friday. We're back with you Saturday, Sunday, Monday. The Nationals Saturday and Sunday. And the Cardinals in a night game Monday, March 27th. Our next telecast will feature Lance McCullers Jr. So we've seen Keuchel, McCullers, and now Keuchel, McCullers in our 4 telecasts in a row. There you see the rest of our spring training schedule on Root Sports.
Those guys back home know what they're doing as far as scheduling. Get those aces up there. Give us something to talk about.
One pitch grounded towards short. Mayfield to Mott, and Mott Hyde turns it for the double play, and that will wrap it up. Mayfield to Hyde to McDonald, and that will do it. The Astros with an 8-4 victory. Lots of stars in this one, and the Astros come away with a victory against the Minnesota Twins. Back with more after this.